Good evening, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Max's Man Cave, episode 79. Thank you. Thank you. Almost at the 100 mark. We're making our way up. We're making our way downtown. And oh no, not this. Not this.
Driving fast, bases passed, and we're homebound.
And we're homebound.
Yeah.
You gotta do the white chicks. No, where you like, yeah. So yeah, no, we are creeping up to the 100 episode mark, and I would not have been able to do it without the gentleman next to me and all of you wonderful people in the chat. So thank you guys so much for being here. But before we get into the news, Dallas Fan Expo this coming weekend, June 7th through the 9th. Myself, Josh, Drew, and that other guy, Kyle, will be there. We will be there, and it'll be a blast to see you all. So if you guys are going to either the Rippaverse meetup or the convention, we will be there all 3 days. We will be on the floor, meeting creators, sifting through comics, what have you. It's going to be a blast, and I'm really excited. And yeah, we got a boys' house. We got a party house.
Heck yeah. So, come on. It's a man's house.
Well, I mean, Saturdays are for the boys, right? That's what all the cool. That's what all the Zoomers say or whatever. I don't know. But no, it's
all out.
Yeah. No, it's no, you're right. It's a man's house because this is the man cave, and we got a man's house. It's an alpha male's house. But yeah, Josh, you actually got the Airbnb for us, so thanks for grabbing that for us, man. Are we going to be your passenger princesses for?
That's right. That's right. I'm gonna make y'all passenger princesses. Let y'all just enjoy your weekend, feel dainty, take naps in our 10-minute drive to the convention center. It'll be a good time.
I'm so thankful. Oh, so it is really that close, huh?
It's like showing that it's like a 10-minute drive, so
not bad. I'm here for it.
We'll see. Yeah. We'll see if that changes once convention traffic gets there.
Yeah, that's fair.
And parking, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that too.
But,
I do know,
thankfully.
Sorry, I just remembering years past, like how they would direct traffic for parking, like to like around the rear of like the convention center, and yeah, that's fun.
Yeah. It'll be a fun time, and I don't know if all of the crew, the Nerdrata crew, will be there, but I'm just looking forward to seeing people on the convention floor. And this is a great year for Dallas Fan Expo because there are not only a ton of like amazing like top tier celebrities that are going to be there, but there's a lot of top tier comic book talent there. So Drew, I actually just got all my comics laid out today. That was what I was doing for like an hour today, just like looking through my short boxes, grabbing the books I wanted. I've got them ready, and I think I'm ready to go. Do you have the books that you want signed, or are you just kind of going in or without them?
Ironically enough, Max, that's what I was doing for the last hour. I was getting all my stuff lined up, ready to go, going through all my splats and finding the stuff that I didn't get signed. It's like, you know what? These are the good ones for round 2 as well, because I forgot I have got some more rare exclusive Fighting American comics. So I'm like, all right, these are coming with. So
oh wow, okay, sweet, man. I cannot wait to see those because I feel like we're gonna get to the Airbnb and like nerd out and be like, oh, what comics did you bring? I brought these ones. Just feel like, oh god. So we'll have to
King. Tom King.
Mark McGrath, Tom King, Tim Sheridan, Mags Visaggio, Vita Ayala. No. Oh man, that's a murderer's row of creators right there.
I was gonna say murderer rows of publishers. Yeah.
Yeah, seriously. We've got Alex Verb says Rings of Power. It is. Mark McGrath, who's down with the MVP. Thanks, brother. You know me. I said you know me. Jack Frost, Max, Josh, Drew. Hello, Jack. Thanks for being here, man. We've got Cajun in the house, and we've got Yuri Volte. Good work, Josh. Good work. What was he saying? Good work to you. What'd you do?
Because I put, gosh, if this loser would start on time, I roll.
Oh, I was like, what? Did you just because you got the Airbnb? No, it's pretty cool. So, these guys actually came in clutch. Josh got the Airbnb, and Drew got us press tickets, or press passes. So, came in clutch this year, and I'm really excited to hang with these guys. Should be a lot of fun.
Yeah.
But like I said, if you guys will be there in the chat, if you guys are gonna be going to Dallas Fan Expo, let us know. Give us a ring on Twitter or something. Seek us out, and we'd love to say hi, and just hang out. So, first things first, let's get into as you guys can see with the title, let's get into some Wolverine and Deadpool news. So as you guys can see, hold on, let me make this full screen real quick. The most recent news for Wolverine and Deadpool is that there is now a popcorn bucket, and as our good friend Vex would so lovingly say, this is the year of the effable popcorn bucket. And man, is she right. I did not think they were going to go this far, but I mean, they're killing it with this marketing technique. What do you want to call it? I mean, look at this thing. I don't know how better to explain. This is a pretty effable popcorn bucket. It looks hilarious. And then on the actual popcorn bucket, it says designed by Deadpool. And I was like, that's pretty clever. Josh, what do you think about this? Is this like, are they almost taking the piss and they're just like, we're just having fun. We don't give a F about this movie or anything. We just want you guys to have fun. And so we're going to play into these like tropes. What do you think about this move with the popcorn bucket?
I think this is great. I mean, you had the whole Dune popcorn bucket come out, which had its own little kind of spurt of whatever on social media, and it's just perfect opportunity. It seems very much in line of something that they should do with the Deadpool movie with Ryan Reynolds. I think not doing it would have been a mistake. And I gotta say, I like this popcorn bucket. I plan on getting. Oh, look at that butter.
I know.
It's multi-purpose. You can have it as a popcorn bucket. It can be a decoration. It's almost wide enough to handle other things. But
sure. I mean, the fact that they had the presence of mind to insinuate this innuendo with the butter rolling down the face, I'm just like, this imagery, man, like, oh my god, I can never look at this the same way. But yeah, no, I mean, I think you're right. I think it would be a mistake if they didn't kind of joke on themselves. That is Deadpool, right? That's kind of his character. Yep. So Drew, had you seen this before?
I think we had seen or it kind of leaked what like the concept what the buckets were going to look like a few months ago or a month ago, and it's not too different from what we got here. Okay. I'm not surprised. It honestly, I'm just kind of curious. Like I don't want to be like that Mrs. Reverend Lovejoy. Think of the children, but I'm very curious to see the parents explaining this to the kids who that's going to be like.
Easy. The kids are gonna be like, I want to be like Wolverine and I want to eat a lot of popcorn. And the parents are like, you sure can, buddy. And we go to the movies.
Oh boy. That's exactly what they'll say. So, but obviously there's the fun popcorn bucket, and that's gotten people excited. But what's really getting people excited is Alberto Magnifico himself. A wizard arrives precisely when he means to, and just like that, there he is. Whoa. Good evening.
Yeah, I'm excited. Like, you got a Wolverine fleshlight on the screen. Like, this is gonna butter that popcorn in a whole new innovative way.
Innovation is one thing that this movie has been doing well. So I guess.
What the hell is this crap?
It is 100% them just ragging on Dune. Like, that's all.
Yeah,
I think it's great.
I mean, I guess I'm so tired of Deadpool. I'm so tired of the jokes. I'm so tired of the
Mm.
pegging's not new to me, friendo, but it is to it is to Disney. No, it's not.
I like
No,
that
it's
joke.
not. It's not. I hated that joke. That made me want to throw my TV out the window. Because first of all, no, it's not new to Disney. Disney is trying to stuff every perversion that they can into all of their kids programming.
Yeah.
So no, it's not new. And it's not even meta to say like it's new. Like if he would have said like it's not new, and he would have acknowledged the fact that they're just cramming sex stuff into everything for kids, then maybe I would have been like, yes, a good dig.
I took it more as I'm used to getting fucked, but Disney's not used to getting fucked. So that's why I found it funny.
That's a better reading of the joke. I don't think that's the way it was intended. I think you have a better sense of humor than the joke writers, and you made it a funny joke.
I hear people I'm funny.
I don't know. This is the sorry, Josh, I didn't hear what you said. In all honesty, I didn't hear what the last thing you said.
I can tell you're good.
I do not know how to. I mean, I understand. Oh, that's not right. I understand that this or did I want to enlarge my face? Yeah, I understand what they're going for. They're going for the marketing. They're going for the hey, let's play into the trends, right? But I don't even know if they need to. I mean, it's still I think they're being fun. But like you, Aaron, I am tired of Deadpool. I'm sick of Deadpool. I actually prefer him in the movies than his current comic book iteration because Drew, you and I have been reading the past Deadpool, comics with Wolverine, Deadpool with this character, with that character, and every time he's put into a current Marvel comic for the past 5 years, it is insufferable. His dialogue is unreadable. You can't do it. And so that is, I hope they do a better job of writing him in the actual film, because in the comics, it's atrocious. But Aaron, you and Drew got to work on Death Rage, which is arguably just a better Deadpool.
I mean, I think so. We certainly took more care with it than anybody currently at Marvel is doing. I mean, Deadpool has had some good runs. Joe Kelly, I would say that Daniel Way and Marjorie Liu did some fun stuff with the character. That's it.
Yeah.
Maybe that first Circle Chase series by Fabian Nicieza. But it was really Joe Kelly that added all the things that people like about Deadpool, and then other writers who just ran them into the ground. I think Deadpool works better when he is a character that's treated semi-seriously in a group setting, in a group book. I don't like the breaking of the fourth wall within a serious universe. If your book and your universe is one that breaks the fourth wall, then it's fine. But I hate it when they do it within stuff that we're supposed to take seriously. And I had the same problem with She-Hulk back in the day. When John Byrne did it in her book, it kind of worked because that book didn't really seem to fit into continuity. But then when other writers would try to do it like in the Avengers, and they'd be like, oh, it'd be a little funny thing if she like turned and talked to the audience. It like, you're like, what are the stakes here?
Yeah.
And so the only interest that I have in the Deadpool movie at all is the scenes in the trailer where it looks like they're taking it seriously. All the comedy stuff, like all the stuff about like all the jokes about cocaine. There are some good ones in there. I'm not going to lie. I think Forrest Gump is pretty great. There's a couple other ones that are pretty good. Do you want to build a snowman? Nice little Disney reference. But like, it's like that's its own thing. It doesn't fit within the rest of the. When he sees Juggernaut for the first time in Deadpool 2, and he like starts talking about Unlimited X-Men number blah blah blah, I'm just like, what are we doing? It takes me out of the moment every single time.
Yeah, and I feel like they're going to have to. It's definitely going to make fun of itself, but I think it's also going to have to make fun of Disney, Marvel, DC, almost every universe in order to really make itself work, because it's going to be so self-referential that it's just going to. I'm sure it's going to say something about multiverses. It's going to say something about superhero fatigue. At least I can assume from the promotional footage that we've seen.
I hope so.
But there are moments where, like you said, where there's a serious they're moments. They're very, very brief. But I hope that it does actually kind of give us an opportunity to stay with those moments, because there are moments of like seriousness and actual care that I think would actually make this movie good. But regardless of whether the movie's good or not, I think a lot of people are just going to have fun or are looking to have fun. But I wanted to cover this article right here that says from the Hollywood Reporter, box office, Deadpool and Wolverine first day ticket sales set R-rated record climbed to 8 to 9 million in its first day, like ticket sales, I guess. And we have to keep in mind that the only R-rated movie before this was Joker that made $1 billion.
Yeah, even Logan didn't make $1 billion, right?
That's right.
No.
Yeah, it didn't. I would now. I
can't
I
believe
know-
Joker made $1 billion. I still can't believe that.
It was all that the only reason Joker made $1 billion was because that media hype behind it around like, oh, don't go see this because it's incels and they're promoting violence and people like
people couldn't wait to go. They're like, I want to go see some violence.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That movie was just such a miserable slog. I couldn't I appreciate the work that went into it, but it's one of those movies that you come out of people like, oh, how was the movie? And you're like, it was a well-crafted film, I guess. And then they're like, oh, so you liked it? And you're like, no, I didn't like it at all. I didn't have a good time. I was miserable and depressed when I came out.
Yeah, it's the new age Taxi Driver. It's like, hey, you never watched Taxi Driver? Here you go. This is the new version of it.
Yeah, if you want Taxi Driver, but you want it tenuously connected to your Batman. It's like, hey, you got your Batman and my Taxi Driver. You got your Taxi Driver and my Batman. Wait a minute.
I wonder if Deadpool and Wolverine will be the opposite of Joker, where it's not really a well-constructed film. Maybe the plot, it has like some really awful writing in it. Maybe it's got some, cringy moments or whatever, but it could be extremely fun. Maybe the action is really well shot and the suits look great and the characters have chemistry and it's just a ton of fun, but it's like not a good movie per se, right? And I wonder, even if it is a good film, because like I said, it's already claiming to be doing very well in all the theaters that I've looked at, and even all the theaters that Gary has seen. He was on his stream the other day looking at theaters around him. They're all sold out for the first weekend. Like morning, noon, and night. All these showings are sold out. And I wonder if, well, I don't think this will do anything for Marvel or the superhero genre in general. Because, if we look at Guardians of the Galaxy, that got a bump, 850 million? I think it made. Marvel's came out after that, and it was the worst showing in Marvel Cinematic Universe history. Like, no one went to go see that film. So even if this is a good movie, do you guys think that there will be any type of resurgence, or what does this do for superhero films or just films in general?
I don't expect it to provide a resurgence for the MCU. It might for a very small audience. I think more than anything, I think people are seeing. Okay, when it was announced that Disney was doing a Deadpool film, and you had Kevin Feige saying it's not going to be rated R, it's going to be PG-13. I think everyone was like, "Fuck this! What's the point? You're not going to have the film that we want to see. Just give us what we want." And I think the biggest blessing we had was the writer strike, and then bomb after bomb after bomb in the MCU of things just failing. And I think what they saw was their direction and what they were trying to implement wasn't working. And you mentioned Guardians of the Galaxy 3. I think part of the reason Guardians of the Galaxy 3 worked is because it was James Gunn, and people knew it was his vision and what he wanted to do and how he wanted to end his story. And people had faith in him to deliver a solid story. Whereas we don't have faith in Kevin Feige right now and all these yahoos that he's bringing on to deliver a good story, because he's hiring cheap people behind the camera, and it shows that that's what we're getting. You're hiring cheap people, we're getting cheap products. So I think for this, people are going to look at it the same way. I had fun with the first two Deadpool movies. Are they technically great films? No, they're stupid. but I had a good time. And see, like for me, like I love watching something like this in a theater with people because other people are laughing. Yeah, you know, it's more of kind of like an experience. Have I revisited the Deadpool movies prior to this? Maybe once outside of the theater, but but I'm looking forward to it.
The jokes that I like best in Deadpool are the ones that don't have anything to do with meta.
That's true.
My favorite joke in Deadpool 2 is you shot Black Tom, you racist son of a bitch. And then at the end, when he starts to, he's dying and he's telling Cable, I hope that one day you learn to judge people by the content of their character and not by the color of their skin. And Josh Brolin, just exhausted, just goes, I'm not a racist. That's my favorite joke in the second one. I think that's the only joke that I remember.
Yeah. No, that's actually true.
Yeah, most of the other jokes in the second one were all about like pedophile jokes and everything else. And it's like, okay, this is getting old pretty quick.
Yeah, like, oh, he's got baby legs, I remember that. It was fine.
Yeah, I honestly remember the first Deadpool movie more than I remember the second one. The only thing I remember from the second one is how awful they cast that one. What was it? Negasonic Teenage War. Well, that was the first one. But then they also had the fat kid, the overweight,
Firefist. Yeah, Rusty Collins. Yeah,
Firefist.
God, that was awful. I remember that second movie just being like, this is the worst casting ever, and they wrote him poorly too, and so I couldn't stand that.
I kept wanting them to pull a Garth Ennis Hitman moment on him, where Deadpool had to use the fat kid as a shield. I was like, please let this happen. Please let this happen. I would love it if that's the the whole movie is I got to protect this kid. I got to protect this kid, and then at the end he just has to use the fat kid as a shield.
Grabs him, puts him in front of him. That would that would actually be really funny. So
he was not a fun character. He was super annoying.
Yeah,
I liked him in I'm tired of them thinking that like, hey, if we have a kid be really vulgar, it's really funny.
Yeah,
it's like we're way past that. Like it's been done to death.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was great in the 80s. Yeah, we're beyond that now.
Yeah. So there also has been like a ton of hype around the potential cameos in this film. Have you guys been hearing about any of that? Do you guys know of any of the cameos that could potentially pop up here? I know people have been saying Henry Cavill potentially as Wolverine. I don't know about that, but
I hope they give us some great casting for those that then they abandon immediately, like they did when they gave us John Krasinski as Reed Richards in Mom, and then decided that what we really wanted was Pedro Pascal again in another project.
Don't remind me.
Cameos, I mean, if you've been watching pop culture, there have been a couple of times where we've gone over cameos. Some that are confirmed, some that have not been confirmed, but contracts have been signed. I think expect pretty much anyone from Fox Marvel films.
Okay.
But in costumes, in actual X-Men 97 costumes, which I'm fine.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, I do know James Marsden. That was confirmed. Like they had that photo of him in the costume. Yeah. So there we go. That's one.
Okay.
Yeah. Do we want to name people?
Sure. I don't care. I mean, so full transparency, I do not plan to go see this movie in theaters.
What?
I don't have any trust in Hollywood. Why should they get my money when I haven't seen the last movie I saw in theaters was with Aaron, and that was Madam Web. Okay, so I think
it's your own fault.
I believe you mean the cinematic tour de force that was.
Yes, of course. Yeah,
it is your own fault that the cinematic viewing choice you made out of the past 3 years was to go see Madam Web versus going to see Top Gun Maverick. Okay, if anything should give you the tattoo of retard across your forehead, that's it. Cameos.
Fair.
So we know for a fact we know Wolverine because he's here, but we're getting Cyclops, Storm, and Jean. They're for sure there. Cool. We know we're getting Pyro because we've seen him in the trailers.
In the trailer. Yeah.
Getting Deathstrike.
We are getting Lady Deathstrike. We're getting some
Sabretooth?
Yahoos. Huh?
Sabretooth? Toad?
Yeah. He hasn't been in previews, but yes, he is for sure in this. We saw Yahoos from X-Men: The Last Stand that no one really cares about, so whatever. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
We have a new person that's playing the Russian instead of Kevin Nash from Fox's attempted Punisher. Yep.
Boo, boo.
I know.
Why can't you get Big Sexy?
I know. Come on. And then some stuff that hasn't been announced is a certain Gambit actor has signed a contract.
No shit.
Okay.
Yeah. So
an actual Gambit actor, or one that like they've been trying to make Gambit forever?
The latter.
Because see, I'd rather have Taylor Kitsch.
Yeah, I'm with you on that one, but I think it'll be funny. And then other than that, we know Jennifer Garner and Ben Affleck signed a contract. And here's the deal: just because you signed a contract doesn't mean you're going to be in it. So
right. It's Hollywood baby, as Rachel Zegler says. We might cut him for the whole movie. Hollywood baby.
We also have a Thor cameo that's in this. So,
and we know that we get to see Ant-Man's helmet at least, and they reference Paul Rudd.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. All right.
Oh,
and you know,
isn't the reference like he finally aged or something like
that?
Yeah. That's funny. Okay. And see, like this stuff all sounds good to me, and it doesn't sound like just mere member berries. It sounds like fan service, because it sounds like things that fans have been. And I think there's a difference between, hey, member this, and just kind of key jangling, as opposed to, hey, you guys have been asking for Wolverine in his yellow and blue suit from the 90s. We're going to give that to you. And hey, remember,
we're finally desperate enough to service the customer.
We finally have to listen to the fans that we've called chuds for the past decade. Oh gosh, I can't believe we have to do this. Oh, maybe we'll just actually have to give them fan service. But I mean, I don't know. I think people have, like I said, especially for me, I think they've been so averse to Hollywood as a whole, because even on this stream, I think I was with you guys and I was like, why don't I want to go see these movies anymore? And I think we came to the conclusion that it wasn't because I was tired of superheroes. I was just tired of movies, because every single time I went to the theater, or every single time I watched a film, it was just awful. And there was nothing of interest that I actually wanted to go see. So even if it was good, quote unquote good, it was something I wasn't really interested in. So I think a lot of people just feel
last Sunday night. I agree with you, Max. Last Sunday night, I went and saw Furiosa, and I really liked Fury Road. I really liked that movie.
Okay.
I was so bored in Furiosa. Anytime that Christopher Hemsworth wasn't on screen, I didn't care. Every time he was on screen, I was interested, and I was like, I wish this was a Dementis movie, because he at least is entertaining me. Even like the action stuff. Now, granted, the sound was a little low in my theater, so maybe like the pounding action like just didn't really like engage me. But I think it was more the fact that I didn't care about any of the characters. I didn't care about Furiosa. I'm not sure I cared about her in Fury Road. I think I just liked the film overall. But I don't think I was ever really invested in her, and I certainly wasn't invested in her 10 years after the movie came out, played by another actress. I just couldn't get into it. So, and in a prequel where I know kind of where it's going, and then at the end, she has a confrontation with Dementis, and it's pretty good. I was like, okay, I like this confrontation. And then there's a moment where it should have ended, and then it doesn't end, and he gives a dumb speech, and they have a dumb talk back and forth.
Oh no!
And then she has the dumbest revenge I've ever seen.
Oof.
And I was like, I'm starting to hate this movie. Before I was just like, eh. And I think you're right. I think I'm coming away with the fact that I don't like movies anymore. I don't like any current movies that are coming out. The last thing I enjoyed in theaters was Dune.
Yeah. And I think because it is just such an art piece, it feels like an actual film, like it's like a cinematic experience. And I think that is something that's really rare, where you can feel like there was actually care and time, and not to say that a lot of these other films don't have care and time and effort put into them as well, because I know that there are people behind the scenes that are working their asses off to get this stuff made. But I don't know, it just comes off a lot of the time as corporatized, or just like there's this layer of disconnect between the film and the audience. And I just yeah, I'm right there with you, Aaron. I can't get myself to care about these films. So, but speaking of, oh, sorry, Josh, were you going to say something?
I was just going to say it's, you know, Hollywood's gotten this, and they go through phases of having this, but they've gotten this arrogance again of, well, people are going to go and see this just because, and they're not putting much of an effort, or they have talent that is putting an effort in and they're coming in after the fact and changing things. So it can be more corporatized or more in line with their current agendas. So,
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, with all that being said, I do hope that this is good. I do not want this to be bad. Like, I hope it does well. I hope it succeeds, and I hope it does make $1 billion, right? Like, great. That would be awesome. But I don't know if it has the legs. And I think, honestly, we're going to see we're going to see what happened with Guardians of the Galaxy, where it's going to be a big upturn at the second weekend because of word of mouth, if it's good.
Kyle and I have
or a
tickets
downturn. I think it'll have a great opening weekend. And then depending on word of mouth is whether or not it'll get to $1 billion.
Yeah.
But it may, I think it's way more likely that it peters out around 900,000 or 900 million. You know, I don't think it gets to I don't know. It might not get to $1 billion. It could very well smash it, you know, but it's going to depend entirely on how many times people want to go and rewatch it.
Yeah, that's true.
I think if they handle the cameos and the story well enough, you might get the feeling of, I want to go see that again to see what I missed. Potentially. But I think the main thing you're going to want to look for is how strong is the opening weekend. And if we have a strong opening weekend, if the film can manage to hold on and not lose 60% of its ticket sales for that second weekend, they'll probably consider it a success. Just because right now we're seeing blockbusters come in if they come in with a good weekend, we're seeing them come in with a strong weekend, and it's like a 60% drop versus like the 40 to 50 that we used to see.
Yeah. Well, what do you guys? What about all the fanboys? Right, like Soups. Like, what's his name? The guy who goes into the movie theaters and just starts screaming at everything and films himself for TikTok. Oh no,
that's real.
I mean, I guess it is that month.
That's the thing.
This is what I think about Soups.
Oh yeah, I see that, Josh. Well, actually, you are the corporate approved identity right there. So thank you for representing our month. So, but yeah.
Wait, so can I film myself for TikTok going into a theater and slapping Soups as he starts screaming, just like slapping the living shit out of him?
I mean, he is here in California, so we could probably find him.
Please.
I hate those guys so much. These are the guys that like are crying at Star Wars Celebration as they like, oh my God, it's like, look, I understand being passionate about these things. There's plenty of things that I've been passionate about and plenty of things that I'm huge fans of, or at least used to be before they started getting ruined. I have never wept at a Star Wars Celebration because something was announced. I have never watched a trailer and been like, oh my God, it's Lockjaw! I love Lockjaw! like, what is wrong with you? Like, I know it's all performative. I know it's like for the clicks, but it's just like, for God's sakes, be a man.
Well, yeah. I mean, have some. No, Josh. No, you're not going to speak right now. No, please. I can't.
I was just gonna say I hate Soups, but I was one of those that screamed for Lockjaw because I like dogs.
But that's because you like
think you
dogs,
screamed.
not necessarily.
I think you went. I didn't. Like at best, I think you went doggy.
If I ever have a reaction like Soups to a trailer, I hope to God someone's like, "You deserve to be shot."
Oh my God!
I mumbled that for you, Max. You're welcome.
I'll just give you the look and then like just a backhand, like just slap right in the mouth. Stop it,
Josh. Your gay is showing. Stop it.
Stop it.
Oh,
so
boy.
Kyle and I, we got tickets for that Thursday night to go see Deadpool. So we'll let you know how it goes.
Ooh,
good, because I didn't get tickets at all, and I'm not going to. So
yeah. So yeah, no, seriously, Drew, you and Kyle are gonna have to be our our taste testers, so
Our
you'll
point
have to
men.
let us, you'll have to let us know. So,
All right.
but speaking of soups, let's all watch and see why people absolutely can't stand him. And I'll just play a brief clip because I can't watch the entire 2 minutes of or however long this is. But here you go.
Here we go.
Don't just stand there, you ape. Give me a hand up. Nope, I'm actually okay. Thank you very much.
Ah! Let's go! Deadpool and Wolverine, baby! July 26th! Oh my god!
Just why? What did we do to deserve this? Send the media.
I can't wait for the nerd crew to do a parody of that. I just wait for their nerd crew's next video. I'm gonna hope we get it.
Josh, you're muted.
I will never forget the day that trailer came out, and it was like 30 minutes to an hour after it came out because we had sent it to each other in the group and we're kind of chatting in our group chat, and then I saw Soups had uploaded a video, so I sent it in the group chat. I was like, "Here you go, Max. I'm here to ruin your day," and you're like, "Damn it, I hate you."
And I think that was the video that you sent me.
It
the one where
was,
he just
yeah.
screamed. Yeah, like that. That is by far his worst one.
It's the most lackluster trailer to have that sort of reaction to. I saw a shadow of Wolverine.
I saw he did the snicket. I saw the claws. Oh, yeah. No, it's just this is what they've created. Like before the Marvel Cinematic Universe, I bet this kid just liked reading comics or kind of would see a Spider-Man and go, "Oh, there's a Spider-Man's. That's cool and fun." You don't even think so? You think he was just a normie?
No. I when you say this is what they created, who are you referring to?
I think Disney Marvel has created this type of fan. No, you don't think so?
No. I think this over sensationalized, we've got to react to everything. I think it is 100% because of reality TV and shit like the Kardashians.
Yeah,
because this is what they do. That's their whole shtick, And then you have this whole generation now that they've grown up thinking that's normal television and that's how real people act because it's reality TV. So I have to act that way. I genuinely, and they know it's not genuine because they know I guarantee you, Soups watched that trailer 2 or 3 times before he filmed his reaction. He's probably like, okay. Let me look up some stuff that people are posting to make sure I've got my facts right, and then I'm gonna get my reaction. Social media. Well, social media has ruined this country too, but reality TV and social media have absolutely ruined this country.
Yeah, it's destroyed an entire generation.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, this over sensationalization of things.
Well, and this idea that everybody has to be like, you has to be a celebrity on the internet, and the way to do that is to just be like so over the top excited about everything, like, oh, I'm such a big fan. Let me tell you a story. So many times James Silvani and I will be sitting at a table. We would have our Darkwing Duck books out that we were doing at the time, spread across the table so people could check them out and buy them. And invariably someone would come up and they would see those and they'd be like, "Oh my God, you guys are making Darkwing Duck comics?" And we'd be like, "Yeah." And we'd explain, kind of give them the pitch and everything. And they would tell us, overly excited, "I'm the world's biggest Darkwing Duck fan. I didn't know there were comics." And you're like, "Oh, cool. Well, yeah, here they are. We're continuing the show, pick up where the show leaves off." And everything, they're like, "Cool. All right, see you later." And they'd leave. They wouldn't buy any comics. They're the world's biggest Darkwing Duck fan.
Yeah.
But they don't want anything to do with it. And I just got to the point where I said, like, when people would start to say that, I'm the biggest Darkwing Duck fan, I would say, "Really?" Because James and I were at a convention in Maui, and a lady took her vacation who lived in Italy. She took her vacation and flew to Maui to attend that con to meet us. Like, she structured her vacation around that because she was such a huge fan of the show and of the comics. And Ted and like Tad Stones, the creator of the character, and James and I were there, and she flew over to meet us from Italy.
Wow.
Did you do that? You have that level of commitment?
Yeah.
Then I think she might have you beat. as the world's biggest Darkwing Duck fan. And that's what like these guys like
incredible.
Soups remind me of. Oh, I'm such a huge fan of all this stuff that I just scream at everything I see. I'm so excited for everything. And it's like, no, you're not. No, you're not. And the reason that I know that is because I'm super passionate about a lot of this stuff. I used to love Star Wars more than anything. When the Phantom Menace trailer came out, sure, my buddy Tim and I watched it, like 6 times in a row and kind of slowed it down and picked it apart. But we weren't screaming like freaking idiots. We weren't squealing like piggies in Deliverance.
Yeah. Now, you know who? Oh, go ahead, Josh. Sorry.
I was just gonna say I might need to start like a very small series that's McDizzy reacts, but instead of reacting to trailers, he's only reacting to people reacting to trailers. Like watch the Soups clip and be like, say nothing the entire time, and at the end be like, "Yep, crack baby."
Yeah. Well, to your what do you call it?
Point
to your topic on to your point of being the biggest fan and having someone come in and be like, I absolutely love this thing that you're talking about. Aaron, why don't you tell us about the biggest fan of Star Wars right now, who is
oh god.
So now most of y'all who are in the chat or who are our viewing audience have most likely seen these clips. This is one of the actors for the new upcoming show, The Acolyte. You also have him here doubling down on what he initially said. But if you guys haven't seen these clips before, I will share the audio here for y'all so that we can enjoy this together. They're only like 4-second clips, but they're just savory, in all their glory. So here's the first one.
Well, Anakin just killed a whole Death Star. How many people died on that? Well, Anakin just killed a whole Death Star.
I also like how he said he killed a whole Death Star. Like, can you kill a Death Star, or do you blow up the Death Star?
I like how uncomfortable the blonde lady on the end is. Like she immediately starts to shift, like she knows how stupid
like,
he is.
Oh,
she's like,
don't
oh
say
god,
that.
oh god, what are we doing? And the girl next to him, look at her face in that freeze frame. She's like, what is he talking about?
Is that
This
Daphne
is Laura.
Keen?
Yeah, I think this is Laura,
Yeah.
X-23. Yeah,
stab him. Just
and then actually
that'd be great. And then Soups could freak out because the claws came out. He could be like, whoa!
He'd be like,
See,
let's go.
He could just start jizzing all over the screen, just like, oh.
So that's the first clip, but then this second one, he doubles down because we all make mistakes. I've even made mistakes here on this live stream where I say one thing and I didn't mean to say that, or I say one name and someone has to correct me. So I go, oh, you know what? You're right. Thank you. I was thinking of X-23 instead of Weapon X or something, right? You can't.
I was
make
thinking
that
of
mistake.
Executioner's Song instead of Extinction Agenda.
Sure, right? Mm-hmm. But this guy doubles down, and you gotta love it.
I did get in trouble for this answer at Star Wars Con. I got heat.
Yeah.
And in my mind, it's so funny to me because it literally, as a person who's outside and just a fan coming in, that was what was so beautiful and interesting to me. People have been talking to me online about how Darth Vader is such a bad person. It's very clear, and it's very well established from those actions. But if you can't look and see that Anakin blowing up the Death Star possibly killed millions and millions of people, I'm going to get in trouble for saying this right now.
You should just shut up.
It's just
I like that our X-23 Laura is just like, you should just shut up now. You should.
Hey, Brick. Maybe stop talking for a while.
That was her exact reaction. So yeah.
Well, but he's also then trying to justify what Darth Vader did. And even if he means Luke instead of Vader, like Luke blew up that Death Star. Luke blew up a military installation filled with enemy combatants. The stormtroopers on the Death Star knew what they were signing up for. Like, we haven't, and maybe some were conscripted, but still, I mean, it's war.
Yes.
Anakin murdered children, defenseless children. Not only the Sand People, but the Jedi younglings, just slaughtered them.
Yeah.
And then basically committed genocide on several planets.
Oh my God.
Vader's a bad guy. Is this the same guy that was like, the thing I love about Star Wars is it's like not really good or evil. It's like what side you're standing on.
Yeah. Yeah. What's interesting is that Flaccid and I, if you guys don't know Flaccid Phoenix, otherwise known as The Dawn, he and I did a video on this channel where he was at that same actor was at Star Wars Celebration, and he goes, the best parts about Star Wars is that there really is no good and evil, and it's all gray. And I was like, you miss the fundamental aspect of Star Wars is the fact that it's the light side and the dark side. Like that's the whole point of, I guess, the themes within the films. But I think this is what they're trying to do, Aaron, and you can tell me if I'm wrong or not, but like I feel like the PR for this show is they're trying to heavily push onto these actors like, hey, run with it's not good or evil. It's about power, right? It's power dynamics, and it's gray, and there's no real light or dark. And they're trying to run with that theme, and they just don't know how to do it. Or they don't know how to talk about it in any form of intellectual, like in any intellectual way, or with any knowledge of like previous past films or properties or whatnot. So
listen, there's nothing wrong as an actor saying, I've never really been a big Star Wars fan. It wasn't part of my childhood. I didn't really know much about it until I got cast in the show. I still, haven't like watched everything or read everything, so, but I am looking forward into getting more into it. The show like really like piqued my interest in the universe and kind of the show that they created, made me just kind of interested in the overall things. And I can't wait to dig into it. That is perfectly fine.
Absolutely.
And no one will get mad at you for that. People will just be like, okay, cool. Right on. But when you go out and you pretend to know things and you just try to wing it like a Bart Simpson book report, you're going to get caught up every time. This is why Jake Gyllenhaal's so smart when they're like, what's your favorite Marvel movie? And he waits for Tom Holland to answer and then goes, oh, I was going to say that. You've never seen a Marvel movie, Jake Gyllenhaal.
Yeah.
But he didn't then start talking about how, I'm such a big fan and blah, blah, blah. It's like Kevin Smith talking about like, I ran home every day to watch He-Man. Then cut to the clip of him going like, I never liked He-Man, from his own show. It's just like, don't fake it. Like, I'll tell you, when I was doing the Disney Pixar books, I had never seen Cars. It was the one Pixar movie that I had no interest in and didn't go to the theater to see it. And they said, you're going to be editing Cars. So you know what I did? I watched Cars.
What a novel concept. Wow.
I immersed myself in Cars. I read some of the other stuff that had been put out. I basically got caught up on all of the lore of Cars so that I could edit that book. And actually I found I eventually found some stuff in Cars that I really liked, and we had some fun with it. But I didn't go in like saying like, what a huge Cars fan I am. And I can't wait to, dig into this universe and bring you all these great ideas that I have for this property that I love so much, because at that point I didn't know anything about it.
Yeah. I want to play this clip. Oh, go ahead, Josh.
No, I was going to say it's almost, like the opposite of what, those Marvel creators did for Multiverse of Madness, when you had Michael What's-His-Nuts and unfortunately Sam Raimi not watch Doctor Strange 1, not watch Infinity War Endgame, and not watch WandaVision to set up the story that's supposed to be the sequel to all of those things.
Well, at least they brought back a character that we hadn't seen since the first movie, and were expecting us to be invested in the love story. And then you had people like the effects supervisor going, hey, shouldn't we include this since it's been included in these films? Hey, shouldn't we do something with the mirror dimension? Hey, shouldn't this actually be this? When your effects supervisor is correcting your story's fucked. I wish that someone had corrected the fact that they say, oh yeah, Baron Mordo, he spent all this time trying to kill me in my universe. No, he didn't. Yeah. No, he didn't. That never happened.
We never got it. It was what was supposed to be the second film that we never got.
Yeah,
that'd be fucking awesome. I was waiting for that, like Baron Mordo just collecting all the magic back. That's a fucking awesome movie right there. I want to see that.
Hell yeah. What's interesting too is that they don't even need to necessarily be like the biggest fans of Doctor Strange and Infinity War and like all these. They don't need to be like fans of the actual property. We would love it if they were, but they at least need to do the homework. They
Yeah.
at least need
And
to
that's-
watch the thing that came before. Like that's
That's
just simple. That should just be part of your job is to
it
know what came
literally is
before.
your job, and that was Aaron's
Yeah.
point. It became his job, so therefore he needed to watch Cars. I guess 1, 2, and 3. I don't know how many there are. But
No, only
watch
one was
Cars.
out at the only one was
Oh.
out at the time.
Only
Okay.
one. There we go.
Yeah.
We actually pitched a story called Blockbusters. That was a series. It was 4 issues, and each one was a separate movie that McQueen had been cast in, or that they were trying to get made with McQueen as the star, but Mater keeps messing it up. And one of them was a spy story. So we had like Sally as like Portia Galore and Chick Hicks as Goldfender, and it was all a James Bond parody. And it was the one issue that Pixar came back and they were like, "You can't do this spy story." And I was like, what is there something that's offended? Is Portia Galore too close to, is that too close of a reference to, of course, now they'd be like, no, put that in. Come on. Actually, just call her Pussy Galore. That's what we want the kids reading. But just make sure that it's, pussy on pussy galore, because we can't have heterosexual love. Yeah. But they said you can't do this, and I was like, okay, why not? And they were like, well, you can't do a spy story. Everything else is approved. You can't. Even the Star Wars parody, even Car Wars with the evil shift lords and Darth Mater is approved.
Nice. I like that.
We never got to do the book because Boom screwed it up. But and I just went, is Cars 2 a spy story? And they were like, we can't tell you. And I was like, okay.
Oh, gotcha. Okay.
Yeah, it was like, okay, so yeah, that's why we can't do it. It's because that's what they're actually doing for the second movie.
Dang it. International spy story. There you go. There it is. I've never watched a Cars film, but Roman,
First one's good. First one's worth watching.
Oh, it is. Okay. Good deal. Roman, hail to you, sir. Thanks for being here. I hard disagree with this though. I think even if they gave Sam Raimi the reins, I still don't know. But
Sam Raimi had more reigns than I think people realize. Again, go watch the commentary for that with Sam Raimi and Michael Waldron, and they openly discuss what they chose to change, and it's gonna piss you off.
Yeah. It's also pretty infuriating that Michael Waldron said that by it was still during primary shooting, and he was writing the third act of the film because they didn't know what they were doing.
He didn't know how to do it. He didn't know he's like, I didn't know how to do it. It's like the Game of Thrones guys coming out and going, yeah, once we get off the books, we didn't know what we were doing. We didn't know how to make a show. It's like, what?
Yeah.
I get fake it till you make it, but you'd done 7 seasons. You'd think you'd have an idea of what making a show was like.
So the one saving grace of Multiverse of Madness was Sam Raimi's visual touch. He did a lot of cool visual things.
Yeah.
But story, they butchered. Like all you've got to Scott Derrickson, right? Yeah, Scott Derrickson has released what the plan was, what they were going to do, what they were going to focus on. You were going to get a lot of Doctor Strange's back. Yeah, you were going to get a lot of Doctor Strange's background, how he lost his sister, how they kind of shaped who he is. You were going to get way more of other Doctor Stranges and how they were different, not just there to be a cameo and they become cannon fodder. Like they were going to play a distinct role in showing these are the paths of your lives depending on the choices you make. And they scrapped all of it. You were going to get Baron Mordo collecting magic. You were going to have Scarlet Witch with him, not with Baron Mordo, but with Doctor Strange working to stop Mordo until the very end when she realizes that her kids actually are alive in another universe and she can use that power to get them. And then she turns like the ending was going to be her turning bad and kind of winning.
Damn you, Sam Raimi.
Didn't get any of that.
That's so much better. You mean a character-driven story?
Now I'm pissed.
Instead of
what?
Instead of just America Chavez and her trans pin realizing that the magic was inside of her all along.
Oh gosh, yeah.
No, Aaron, she got scared by a bee. Okay, we all know that.
Hey,
how like lands on her hand. She's like, ah.
How do we get apart this this background information for this character? I don't know. The memory store.
Oh yeah. No, don't. I mean, there are a plethora of things that are wrong with the film, but I still like. I remember. I can actively remember the moment that my heart just sunk and my whole body just gave up because I was like, I'm done with the MCU now. Like I was kind of done before, but I wanted to still give it the benefit of the doubt. But when I saw like those characters just absolutely get slaughtered, that was the end for me. So it's clear that they they didn't care about Reed Richards, Black Bolt, Professor X. I mean, come on, man. So
You know where I checked out before that in the movie.
Oh, really?
I'll tell you where. I checked out when Wanda said, "Oh, I thought you were coming here to confront me about whatever that town was named in WandaVision." And he's like, "Well, you put it right in the you put it right."
Oh,
so that was never in doubt. Like, you're all excused for mentally torturing an entire town full of people.
Yeah.
Just like, and that reinforced the stupid thing of Monica at the end saying, "They'll never know what you sacrificed for them."
Ugh.
No,
Because-
you'll never appreciate what they sacrificed for you to work through your little emotional problem.
Yeah.
Those people will have nightmares for the rest of their lives because of what you did.
It's awful. These current Hollywood writers cannot allow women to be held responsible for their own actions. They are too afraid of giving women responsibility of actually maybe going through something that could, I don't know, maybe have them go through some sort of suffering that is not someone else's issue, that it was their fault, that they can't, or that they need to accept the responsibility that happened. But no.
Max, if you cut this into clips, can you just put in the scene from that Jack Nicholson movie, As Good as It Gets, where she says, "How do you write?" Julie Benn says, "How do you write women so well?" And Jack Nicholson goes, "I think of a man, and then I take away reason and accountability." That's how these screenwriters. That's a joke in a movie, but that's actually how these current screenwriters write women.
Yes,
it's so
100%.
infantilizing.
Yeah. We kind of got a little sidetracked, but with a great conversation. I really do think that whenever we kind of get off a little bit, we always find our way back. But I did want to play this clip for us. When we're talking about a lot of these actors and a lot of these Star Wars actors, Robert Meyer Burnett brought up this really great point today on George the Giant Slayer's stream. So I just wanted to play this real quick for us about the whole acolyte actor. And this is a totally different perspective and one that I hadn't heard before. So I actually really enjoyed it and appreciated it.
Silent.
Well, no, look, here's the thing.
Okay.
Actors have never been known for their articulate analysis of the material that they're in, and they shouldn't have to be. But one of the things that you have when you do these junkets, there are publicists there that can help and say, "Listen, I think you misspoke. Can we take it back? Let's re-record that segment."
Okay.
And it's their job to make sure to protect the actors. The thing that really bothered me about this is I was going off on this because it wasn't the actor's fault that he misspoke. I don't expect actors to be fans or understand the things the way we are. The very interesting thing is, having done so many DVD documentaries where I've interviewed cast members about things, I never ask.
Including the late, great Sir Christopher Lee from the Lord of the Rings franchise. Robert Meyer Burnett got, I think, probably 6 to 10 hours with him on Saruman. He was able to do that behind the scenes footage. So he has had an extensive career, so he knows what he's talking about. I'll continue the rest of the clip because he talks a little bit more.
The cast to delve into the material itself, because they don't know nearly as much as the fans who will be watching these interviews. So if you buy, like when I was doing the Star Trek The Next Generation discs, I sat down with Patrick Stewart twice for hours at a time. These were long, really long interviews. And the first time I sat down with him, I said, "Listen, I'm not gonna ask you about Star Trek." And he laughed. And I said, "Look, if I were to ask you about the geopolitical situation between the Romulans and the Klingons during the Battle of Narendra 3, what would you tell me?" And he laughed. And he said, "Nothing." And I said, "That's why I'm not going to ask you about Star Trek. What I am going to ask you is about you, because the audience wants to know about you as a person. They can tell you more about the character of Jean-Luc Picard than you can tell them. So when you interview celebrities about material, what is their experience making something? What was it like to get the job? What did it mean to you when the character of Jean-Luc Picard started to take off?" So you try and stay away from in-universe commentary, because you'll always lose with an actor and you'll end up embarrassing them. And this kind of thing will happen. And the interviewers and the publicists should know that, because their job is to protect their talent. So
with that clip, What do you guys think about what Robert My Burnett said? Do you think that he has some validity there? Do you think that actors should be able to bring a sense of like in-universe knowledge? Or do you think the publicists should have more of a like a comprehension and a wherewithal to say, hey, we got to start over here. Like cut that, give them a different question. Like what do you guys think about what R&B had to say?
Well, this is why in my tweet I said Lucasfilm marketing at its finest,
Yeah.
because it is not, it is not the actor's fault. It's not the actor's fault. Now, granted, you would hope that when you don't know something, you would have the wherewithal to not try to comment on it. But
Yes.
again, it is the purview of the PR people to stop and say, let's start over. That's not right. The PR people are supposed to know their job, and they are supposed to protect the actors, because the actors are doing these press junkets, and God only knows how many questions he had been through at that point, because they sit you down and a reporter comes in, they ask you a bunch of dumb questions, and then the next reporter comes in and asks you a bunch of dumb questions, and you have to do that for an extended period of time. So after a while, maybe this guy, maybe he really does know that Luke blew up the Death Star, and he's just loopy at that point. But that's where you have somebody who's there to protect him. The problem is Lucasfilm under Kathleen Kennedy is so filled with DEI checkbox hires, activists, and imbeciles from in every level of that company that the publicist is not there to protect the actors, because they don't know either. He probably knows more than the publicist. Him saying Anakin blew up the Death Star is probably closer to the actual lore of the universe than the publicist could get.
Yeah, that's true.
I'm gonna 100% agree with Aaron, and I'll even go further. It's not even just Star Wars; it's Disney as a whole, and even these people that are hiring these reporters to come in and ask the questions. They're all focused on the same thing, and it's become less about how can we promote our material and more about how can we preach the ideals that we want to preach. Because, and I've said this before, if you were to go into some of these movies or shows and watch them without having any context of any of the interviews, any of the things that actors said, anything like that, you wouldn't notice half the shit that people are like raising pitchforks about. But instead, you spend 2 to 3 months hearing this, going into a show or a movie, and then that's top of your mind when you go see that. So guess what you're looking for? Every single moment that's going to remind you of the diversity or the, whatever it might be. So that's also killing films. But Rob kind of mentioned too, I'm not going to ask you about this stuff in Star Trek because the fans are going to know it better than you. And he's right. I'm not him. I'm nowhere as talented as he is. The guy is a legend for a reason. Yeah. But when I would interview comic book writers or artists, I never went into what's the story about, what do you want to focus on. I would let them give their own little soft pitch to start things off. And then I would ask them questions like, what comics inspired you? What made you want to write comics? If people aren't familiar with this character, what book should they read before starting your run? It's all stuff that they don't have to actually give answers about. Here's the lore. They can just kind of go and point. And look, a writer should know more than an actor. But it's going to give them the chance to actually talk about stuff. Because if you say, hey, what's your story about, or what's this, they're not going to tell you. They're not going to give the movie away. So find clever ways. But get them talking about something that is universal. A love for the medium, a love for the history. If you don't have a history with it, like Aaron was talking about, talk about how much fun you had, coming to know it, what it meant to you coming to know it, what it meant to you seeing the fan base that loves it so much and how you feel honored to be a part of that fan base. That's what you want to get. The more you can create a collective, we're all here for one reason and not we need to have more insert diversity here.
Well, yeah, I mean, look at
this movie saved lives, Josh. It's gonna save lives.
No. And by the way, Eternals did save my life. Okay.
Leslie Headland said that Star Wars saved my life when she was at Star Wars Celebration. And today, I guess, or yesterday, Vita Ayala, who just wrote on the Star Trek Celebrations Pride special, was saying Star Trek saved my life. She said that in a tweet, and it's like you just heard Leslie Headland say that. First of all, I might believe that if you wrote a story that indicated that you had seen a single episode of Star Trek,
just one,
including the characters that you had written, just one.
Just one.
But all you did was you went in and you wrote yourself again.
Go
I
ahead,
do
Josh.
want to follow up just on the whole actors, and not holding the actors accountable. I
Right.
agree. However,
Yes.
if you make the same type of mistake, not once, not twice, but roughly 3 times plus at this point, this
Mhm.
is when we need to get back to the old golden Hollywood where studios are like, you're just a stupid actor. You just say what we tell you to say. Sit down and shut up because you're nobody. That's what
Yeah.
we need.
Your job is to read lines and read them convincingly.
Yeah.
Here's the lines. Do not go off script. And
Well, it
and
kind
you
of
know that the reporters are all shills, so they have approved
yeah.
questions too. So it's like,
It
yeah,
kinda
don't deviate. This is what they're going to ask. This is what you're going to say. It's like a Biden press conference. It's like,
Oh,
here's your
God.
cue cards. Try not to read the instructions on the teleprompter out loud.
Fade in. Yeah, no,
You need to clap for that.
yeah.
Please clap.
Please clap. Please clap. I do think it kind of goes back to what we were talking about earlier on in the stream when, we're saying that people like these, I think these people now want to all be celebrities. They all want to be influencers. And actors now, it's not just good enough to be an actor. They now think that everyone wants to know and hear what they say. So they all want to be on Twitter and Instagram and YouTube, and they're like, I have good takes too, or like I have really great political views, or I have really great this or that. I know the Star Wars is. I'm going to talk about how Vader killed the Death Star, or whatever this guy said, right? And so I think it's that hubris of like, people want to hear what I have to say because I'm an actor, and it's like, it's gotten so much to their head because of our current culture, where it's like, you've got, what's her name is a porn star and she's a celebrity because she did a video with Ray J or whatever.
Oh,
That's
Kim
the
Kardashian.
level. Kim Kardashian. And like kids in elementary school are saying, I want to be like Kim Kardashian. I want to be a celebrity like so and so. And it's like, no, you don't. You absolutely do not. And so there is a level of I wish that Hollywood would go back to your craft as an actor is to say these lines in character. That's it. Now,
I'd
as
like
your
to go
craft,
back to like the times when actors were the lowest form of of people.
no.
When like they were just basically like, yeah, shut up and dance for us, monkey, and then afterwards we're gonna spit at you. That's
Charlie
what we need to
Chaplin
go
was-
back
yeah.
to.
Back when Charlie Chaplin was an actor, just treat it like shit. That's
Yeah.
it's like how it should be.
But then like the studios get to parade the actors around as celebrities. They get to say like, yeah, just go to you've got a dinner tonight at 5:00, and then you've got a press junket right after that, and then you're going to the premiere right after that.
Smile
And
and
all
wave,
you're gonna
boys.
say is just smile and wave, and you're just gonna say, I'm so excited to be a part of this film. I'm honored to have this opportunity, and I can't wait to bring the fans what they've wanted for the past year, whatever. That's all you have to say. It's literally so simple. But they can't do that.
And if
Case
Kathleen
in
Kennedy, if the studios, if everybody had that attitude of like, we just want to bring the fans what they want, we just want the fans to enjoy this thing that we made, and we hope you give us all your money because you enjoyed it so much. That's a healthy Hollywood.
Yeah.
I will say, case in point, and a modern example of someone doing this is Sydney Sweeney, because recently she's been getting asked.
I don't want her on my channel.
No. Recently she's been getting asked.
I booked
why
her
did
next
you
week,
do-
Max. Is that
Yeah.
okay? Is that okay?
Oh, sorry. No, I don't want her name on my channel. But yeah,
Oh.
sorry. Go ahead. Josh.
Recently, she was asked, why did you do Madam Web? Because clearly not a good movie. And her response was, I wanted to do something with Sony because I'd never worked with Sony. And this looked like it could be a lot of fun. And I had a lot of fun making it and built great relationships.
Sure.
And then
Cool.
because of that, she got one of the best performing romantic comedies that we've had in a while. That was through Sony, and then she's getting something else now. Like, hey, kudos, actors. That's how you do it, right there. Prime example.
Now wait a
And
second.
she went out and she bought Julia Carpenter stuff.
Yeah.
And actually, while she was on the film, she goes, it'd be cool if I could drop down from the ceiling upside down like Julia Carpenter does in this issue that I have. Like, she actually went out and researched the character and got excited about it.
Yeah. And I think, going back to, actors, I don't think there's anything wrong with actors. Actually, I don't think there's anything wrong with actors not necessarily knowing all the lore, as Robert Meyer Burnett said, because the nerds are always going to know more, and that's fair. That's just the nature of things. However,
Unless the actor is Henry Cavill.
unless
In
he's
which
Henry
case he's
Cavill,
going to know more than you.
he will know more than you, and he will hopefully try and bring that to the big screen. But I do think that the actor does have a job to like at least be competent on the source material. He or she may not have to love it, but I would hope that there was a level of like for the Lord of the Rings, everyone carried around Tolkien's books on set just because they immersed themselves in the book. And we'll get to Rings of Power and Lord of the Rings later. But kind of what you were saying, Josh, is those press junkets that went around with Rings of Power. Remember what they were saying? They weren't saying, "Now, how are you going to bring Tolkien's vision to life?" The question that was asked mainly was, "So you're the first black female dwarf in the Lord of the Rings. How does that make you feel?" That's the type of questions that these people are getting, and it's
Yeah.
abysmal. Why would you ever? It's asinine. What does that have to do with anything? Because
Well,
it then puts the ownership on the actor and how great they are instead of
and
enhancing the work.
and this is where I said, publicists need to get back to wanting to make people excited about the project instead of,
Yeah.
preaching morals. Because I promise you, out of all the interviewers that asked that, I guarantee you that was probably brought up by the publicists of, hey, we want to cover. Because
Yeah.
most of those people interviewing, especially for things like ET and all those like whatever those stupid Hollywood based, interview shows are, they're not gonna know enough about Lord of the Rings to know that this is the first black female dwarf. Like that, they're not gonna know. They have been told that, and then came to the conclusion that one, that's now a good question to ask, or we're asked to ask that question.
Mhm.
Yeah, no.
Well, Star Wars has always been sort of patriarchal, hasn't it? So I play a strong lesbian witch. Yes, yes.
Yes,
Yes.
yes. God,
Yeah.
that clip is like everything wrong with Star Wars right now. Well, everything wrong with Disney, Marvel, and Star Wars and Disney in general. But
You know that clip where the lady's talking in the storm about please stay inside, and then she gets hit with a stop sign? Like that's what I
Oh,
feel like
yeah.
wanted to happen. Every time I see that clip, her going, yes, yes. I just want something huge to just like hit her in the face and like knock her off of the
Just
screen.
stop.
Like, just
Yeah.
gone. What are you doing?
But
Stop it.
just
But
empty-headed,
ahead.
vacuous. Yeah, sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say, Josh is absolutely right. And why do the publicists keep putting these questions out when A, they know it's divisive, and B, when has diversity or when is this tact ever put a single butt in the seats? When?
Mhm. Yeah.
Black Panther did not succeed because of this. Black Panther
Uh-oh.
succeeded because it was in a juggernaut film series that was unstoppable at that point because it had so many
Yep.
wins. And he was in a previous film where he was introduced and he was cool as hell. And comic fans, both black and white and every other color under the sun, who had been reading about Black Panther for years in the comics, already loved him and told their friends how great he was. And it became just part of the cultural zeitgeist of those Marvel films.
Yep.
I think too, they did make it like a cultural experience, like because this was coming off the heels of BLM, right?
Mhm.
Or was that
No, I
or
think
is
that
that
was after Black Panther.
okay? I think that it still was promoting, hey, you don't want to be a racist, right? You're not one of those racists. So like you should probably all go see this film. And I felt like maybe not inherent or not specifically, but inherently or like inadvertently, it was trying to be push that kind of like, hey, this is a cultural experience for like this community and like it's going to be a huge thing. But you're right, it was also a juggernaut film with a really cool character and an actor that played him very well. So like
Yeah.
there was
I-
a lot of that. But yeah.
The only like really kind of big racial conversation I remember them having with Black Panther, because I felt like they, you know, despite the fact that they put it in February in Black History Month, some people had issues with that because they kind of
Yeah.
viewed it as like baiting.
Yeah.
The only thing that really came about was there was a lot of conversation about how it was the first blockbuster of that size that was like 90% a black cast. And
Mm.
that wasn't a black film, quote unquote. And I think we all know what I mean. You'll have the black films that are bigger budget for the studios they come from or whatnot, but it's still not a major blockbuster type budget, generally speaking. So I think that was the main conversation. And I was fine with that. And then the news stories that I saw were a lot of people that were buying out movie theaters in like low income neighborhoods to do screenings for kids. And I thought that was awesome. Did Oprah do that? Okay,
yeah,
cool.
I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, none of those kids actually made it to the theater. They all disappeared. But she did bust them around.
I know there's other people, because I remember seeing like a 60 Minutes report of a guy that his whole thing, like he's got his career, but he's got this whole thing where he just tries to mentor people from like low income neighborhoods, and he did that as well. He rented out the movie theater, and they got buses and took all the kids to go see it, and they had the new. I mean, look, was it a publicity stunt? Sure. But kids got to go see it. I can understand the impact of a young black kid seeing another black person as a superhero. I don't think that's a bad thing.
No,
they
not at all.
didn't preach. Like, it wasn't preaching about this is why this is important and this is why you need to. It just like they're like, hey, this is happening, and left it at that. And if they continue to do that, great, sure, fine. But they don't. They're pulling we have this black female dwarf. And this is groundbreaking. And people, why is
She's
it?
The first
You have
ever.
to explain why this is so important and why this is needed and why people need to give more black females a chance to be dwarfs.
Dwarves, yes. Amen, Josh.
And I can't remember if it was the Little Platoon or who I saw that was doing it. It might have been Robot Head or even Disparu. I think it was the Little Platoon, but he was talking about how if you want to make Tolkien's world diverse, it's really easy to do that. You don't just make every group of people like New York City, where it's like, oh, we got one of every race among the dwarfs, we've got one of every race among the hobbits, because that doesn't make sense within the world. If you go to a big city, then yes, you will see more of that. A big city in the story. But they said, like, you can go and you can travel and you can have the Easterlings. You could even if you wanted to have a black elf, you can explain that by having him come from a different region than we've seen. Like, you can have it in a more naturalistic setting, before we had all these great metropolitan gatherings of people where you did have, a bunch of people in a city that were diverse and different cultures and different ethnicities and all of that. Like, that's not the way the world was. And that's not the way Tolkien's world is set up, because it's very much set up like the old world, where you had tribes of people that were different. So you can go to those places, or you can bring somebody from that tribe and explain it.
Yeah.
But you don't just have a closed society like the Harfoots, where you keep hammering home that they're a closed society. And you're like, if there's such a closed society, why is there a black one? Why is there an Asian one? And why is there, how is there so much diversity within this very closed, small group that you're talking about?
They're the sociopath Harfoots, yes. No, 100% true, Aaron, and it ruins the verisimilitude of your world, because everyone makes the joke of like, oh, well, you can accept dragons and sorcery, but you can't accept a black person, which is like the most gaslighting bullshit ever. But what happens is, and we saw this in the, do you guys remember the Witcher show that was, it wasn't like Witcher season 3. It was like
the
Witcher
made up one. It was
Blood
the fake
Origin.
one.
Yeah.
They were like, we're going to do our show within the Witcher universe with all the stuff
I think it was called Blood Origin or something. And it was exactly that. It looked like the cover of one of those textbooks where it's like you have the Asian female with the black disabled lesbian, and then you have like the Hispanic man, and then you have like a dog. And it's just every
the dog is disabled and he has a trans pin on his collar. It's it's the Burger King Kids Club.
Yeah, no, exactly. And you just have everyone. And that's how Witcher Blood Origin looked. And it's like, we come from the same tribe. And I'm like, no, you don't. And it just ruins these fantasy worlds are not Los Angeles. They are rooted in historical, fantasy or historical elements that has been turned into fantasy later. But yeah, it's absolutely ridiculous. And when you see it, it's overtly apparent that this is just to check boxes. So
when we did the Darkwing Duck comic and we were doing Saint Canard, and we would show crowds of people, James and I would always specify, I would specify in the scripts, and James would always draw on the art that it needed to be a bunch of different animals that we'd seen. It's not just, because typically Disney is like ducks and dogs, which I think they call dog noses. That's typically what you see on like DuckTales. But we were like, okay, so St. Canard is a major metropolitan city, and we really want to sell that. So how do we sell that? We got chipmunks, we got pigs, we got geese. Like every like animal under the sun is like kind of in that city, and it's because that's where it's set. But when we go out to the country, it's a bunch of dumb hillbillies, or it's, like it's, but they're all, it's just kind of like, well, that's what we have to do. And we had one that we wanted to do a vacation on an island, and we were going to be like, okay, so, on that island, the majority of people on the island will be of a specific ethnicity. Because that's, we were trying to create a naturalistic world, not in the way that like makes your brain go, oh, I see what they're doing, but just in a way that feels natural so that you don't even notice it. And I 100%. Feel like if there was more of that in these shows and more of that in these movies, you wouldn't even. It's like Mike Saclasa says, you didn't notice it, but your brain did.
Your brain
you just start to go, or you're sitting in a movie and all of a sudden you start to like go, wait a minute.
Yeah. So the last thing I wanted to say, just kind of on this whole actor thing, and within Star Wars, Jack brought up a really great point. He says Jackie Earl, is that how you pronounce his name? Haley. Yeah. Was a fan of the Watchmen graphic novel before playing Rorschach, and it absolutely shows in his performance. And I completely agree, which makes me think, though, yes, actors don't necessarily need to be huge fans of the, source material. It's instances like that make me think it's your job, though. Like what we were saying with the writers and the producers and the directors. If you have a creative vision, you're going to want to do everything in your toolbox, in your craft, to hone and understand the source, the universe, the character, the motivation, all of that stuff. And if you don't do that, then you're not doing a good job. Whether you're black, white, female, male, it doesn't matter. Non-binary, doesn't matter. If you can't do that, you're not a good actor and you're not good at your job. So ultimately, I do think that I like what R&B had to say. Robert My Burnett, I agree with him on a lot, but at the same time, I think there is an aspect of, hey, I do think that these actors need to come into their performance with a prior understanding and knowledge of doing some of that homework. So
who hadn't done any homework when he signed on or when he first was approached for Watchmen was the actor that played the comedian.
Oh, that's right.
Really?
Yeah. There's a story. What's his name? I know his name, but like it's just escaping me at the moment. Love that guy.
I know who you're talking about.
What is his name? What is his name?
Jeffrey Dean Morgan.
Jeffrey Dean Morgan. Thank you. I knew like Jackie Earle Haley. He had 3 names, but all I could think of was Jackie Earle Haley because we just said that. So Jeffrey Dean Morgan said he told the story. He said he got the script. He read the first couple of pages. The comedian dies. And then he was like, he called his agent and he was like, why would you send me this? Like I died. Like, I don't want to just do a cameo. Like, I'm trying to like do bigger roles. I'm trying to do more stuff. There's like, I'm only in the first 5 minutes of the film and then I get killed. And his agent goes, moron, read the rest of the script. And he goes, so I read it. And then, he went and he got the graphic novel and he was like, oh, okay. Yeah. This character is vastly important. Yeah. And I need to understand this character so that I can really play him. So, he did dig in. But yeah, I just think that's funny. Like it's a very kind of like self-deprecating story for him to tell where he's like, no, I was like, get this out of here.
I'm not going to read. Yeah. I'm not going to play this. I want to shout out to Steph from My Nerdy Home. Looks like she just finished up with her live stream. And so we're getting a Steph raid. So thank you guys so much for being here. Woo! Thanks for hanging out.
She just said hi.
There she is. She just says hi. Hi.
And her pink ranger top.
Yes. No, super cute. Totes, adorbs. Thank you for being here, Steph. Hopefully you guys had a great night with Talk Nerdy to Me. If you guys haven't checked out Steph from My Nerdy Home, go check out her live stream. She streams almost every day, which is awesome. So, question, kind of off topic, but speaking of Watchmen, is that Zack Snyder's best film?
No.
Okay. Which one do you think is?
Dawn of the Dead is his best film.
Oh.
It's Dawn of the Dead and
really?
300. Between those two, Dawn of the Dead and 300. I really like.
You have to choose, Drew. You have to choose.
Dawn of the Dead. I'll go Dawn of the Dead.
Wow.
I mean, are we surprised that I picked 300 though? I mean, let's be for real.
Not really.
Well, what
Not really.
does that say about me? Because I choose 300 too. So
Well,
we've got
Max,
two
we've
300s.
talked
Well,
about how
Max,
some of the stuff
well,
you do
yeah,
is
I mean-
pretty gay, but
Yeah.
we love you anyways.
I
We
am
won't
everyone's
judge
Max,
favorite
you.
I define you as gay adjacent.
I'm an ally this month. Hell yeah. Woo. You know what? That's one thing that like my there we go. See, look at all the rainbow. Yeah. That's one thing that my computer doesn't do. It doesn't have like a rainbow setting. There we go.
I'm
It's got
surprised that you
balloons,
can't go like this and then have it like do a rainbow.
Or-
though. Oh, just like touching tips, and it'll
Yeah.
just
Oh,
the more you know.
Yeah.
We're like, imagine
over a cereal bowl, like I said the other day.
Oh yeah. Oh, no. Don't get Josh excited again, please.
I know.
We don't need that.
Can't wait for those Lucky Charms.
What the heck is this, Soul Assassin? Don't tease me like
Yeah.
this, but don't tease me with a bad time because I
It's
don't
a
think they're gonna do
prequel.
it well.
It's a prequel.
Yep, and it's
no.
Snyder.
And it's
Oh,
Snyder again.
Why did they
Oh,
keep giving
I
this guy
believe so.
work? Oh my god.
Bruh.
I
This
can't wait to
whole
read
Army
thing-
of the Dead?
The whole thing was that Warner Brothers went back to him saying, "Hey, do you want to do this?" And people were like, and he considered or is considering it or said yes, one of the two. So it's like, why?
No.
For
Ugh.
multiple reasons, why?
Well, gosh dang. If it doesn't have Gerard Butler, and they can't do it because of toxic masculinity, like they can't do it how it was in the first film. And we saw what happened with, what was it, 300 Rise of an Empire, which was the second film. It didn't do very well at all.
I don't think
And
I
then they
ever saw
tried to
that.
make Immortals, and Immortals didn't really do well, but it's got Henry Cavill. So I was like, I don't know. He is making more Rebel Moon, that's for sure. He's still got like 4 more movies with Rebel Moon.
No, he
Are we
wants
gonna
to make
Sucker
4 more
Punch?
movies. He ain't never making another Rebel Moon is done.
I'd rather
Oh,
see a
man.
Sucker
Well-
Punch sequel than that. Jeez.
Oof.
All that money
Oh, no,
spent
no,
on
no.
Rebel Moon, and people discussed it for 2 days and then promptly forgot about it.
And then just moved on. So, you know what show and series everyone else moved on from and forgot about was Rings of
Herman's
Power.
Head?
But don't take. Oh, which one did you say?
I said Herman's Head. It was from the 90s. Never mind.
Oh, I was about to say I probably.
I'll
wasn't
have
wrong.
you know, Joe Corallo and I still talk about Herman's Head to this day.
Yes!
Oh,
And Wings. We talk about Wings a lot.
oh,
Actually,
gosh.
Joe and I were talking about doing a Wings podcast where we just watch every episode of Wings while we eat hot wings.
Oh, that's pretty funny. I like that. This is a good question. Which is worse, Batman v Superman or Rebel Moon?
Rebel Moon.
Rebel Moon.
Rebel Moon.
I have not seen Rebel Moon, so I can't speak to this Cajun. But if it weren't for Ben Affleck and Henry Cavill saving, and you know what, they didn't even save Batman v Superman. I truly think that film is a 3 out of 10. Batman v Superman is awful, but we won't get into that because then we'll have B.A. Turner in the chat, and we don't need that. So.
Then Fatal J will show up.
Exactly. So, but yeah, speaking of bad films and TV shows, don't take my word for it because Forbes, like the Forbes, wrote this article not too long ago saying The Rings of Power was a massive flop that most viewers gave up on. Amazon's Lord of the Rings drama, The Rings of Power, was a flop. Not only was it snubbed almost entirely during award season, it turns out that only a mere 37% of people who started the show actually ended up finishing it. That's a huge deal, considering the fact that Amazon, one, hid reviews, deleted your account if you made bad reviews, and they also, I think what they did was for the first episode, the first time you watched it, they had an ad play at the half mark, and it replayed the episode. So that they got 2 viewings on that watch. You think I'm kidding, but this was one of Amazon's tactics to get more eyeballs on, or more eyes on the show to actually promote it to their shareholders and stakeholders. So 37%, even with all of that nasty, shitty, slimy stuff that Amazon was doing to try and get the show ratings or viewings of it boosted. And now we have gotten the most recent update for season 2. Oh, that's not it. And it is none other than the man, the myth, the legend, the wizard himself, Tom Bombadil. And this looks awful. I mean,
This looks like an SNL parody.
Yes,
It
I was just
does.
thinking that.
It does.
Yes.
Mhm.
It looks like I tweeted this the other day. It looks like a bad community theater stage play. Like the beard looks completely glued on. The hair is a joke. The actual costume design just looks lazy. This is just what are we doing here? This is a
This is a
$1
billion-dollar show.
And this is what we're getting with the costume design.
And
they're
Tom Bombadil
promoting
is
it.
supposed to be colorful, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh
My
yeah.
memory from the book is that he's supposed to be wearing like yellow boots or something. Like he's supposed to be like all like, flamboyantly colored.
He's
And he
supposed
just
to
looks
be.
boring.
He looks like he got divorced, and he's now like trying to settle like the suit, and he's just like
he's unemployed and trying to just walking around in a bathrobe trying to fix a radio that
Yes.
isn't broken, like your dad when he was out of work.
He looks so sad and just like completely miserable. Oh,
Is that the
This
character
is-
or no?
no, not at all, Drew. The character is bombastic. He's loud and fun. He's always singing. He's boisterous. He's kind of goofy, honestly. Like realistically, in the books, he doesn't really play a large role, but he's almost kind of a joke. And I'm pretty sure that even Tolkien himself has said like Tom Bombadil was kind of something I made up just kind of off the cuff and was just having some fun, and I don't know.
I
Now
didn't know
we're
what to do
seeing
with
the
him after that.
badass.
Yeah.
You're seeing the badass
Well,
Tom
see-
Bombadil.
In the book, like even Frodo kind of like gets like tired of him at one point and tries to get away from him by putting the ring on, but Tom Bombadil can see him, so it's just like this awkward moment of like, what are you doing? And there's a whole a whole subplot about like them saying like, well, because Tom puts the ring on and it doesn't affect him. He doesn't turn invisible. Sauron doesn't see him. He's not tempted by the power. And there's like a whole like idea of like, well, what if Tom, why don't we have this guy take it to Mordor? And Gandalf basically says he's so flighty that he'll forget why he has it. He'll forget what he's doing, and he'll probably just lose it. So it can't be him. It's almost like he's an elemental force of the world that just kind of like exists, and he's just unexplained. It's just one of those things that's like unknowable from a previous age, and that's just kind of his role in the book, is this idea that there were things that were before Morgoth, there were things that were before Sauron. But even Tolkien said, like, after I created him and had some fun with him, I really didn't know how to make him play into the larger story, so he just didn't.
Yeah.
I'm sorry,
And
my brain just exploded because how you just described the character, Aaron. It really, I don't know if you guys have really read Stephen King's The Stand or not, but Stephen King has said The Stand is pretty much his Lord of the Rings, and but in the American version. And there's a character in that called Tom Cullen, who he sends on a mission to go. They send him on a mission to go do something, and it's like, wait a minute. And they started thinking Tom Bombadil could be this Tom from the book, because that Tom was was mentally handicapped, but they sent him on the mission. So I guess that could have been Stephen King. Like, let's send Tom Bombadil actually on the mission to do this.
Oh my god.
Sorry, I just made that connection there. Sorry.
I'm gonna do it, you guys. I'm gonna do a real good job.
Oh no.
What am I doing?
Josh, you
What am I
sent us
doing?
that awful video of that poor woman getting scared and laughing at it, and none of us responded because you're awful, and that's what you're doing right now. No, I'm kidding.
Oh yeah, I'm going. Yeah, I have a special place.
I'll say there is a Tom Bombadil character in, because Terry Brooks with the Shannara series was heavily inspired by Lord of the Rings, so much so that the first book, Sword of Shannara, is very derivative, and it isn't until the second book that he really started. That was like his first timer. It's like he obviously he really loved Lord of the Rings, and so that's a heavy influence. But as he got into the lore of his own series, there is a Tom Bombadil type character called the King of the Silver River that I think that Terry Brooks uses to much greater effect than Tolkien was able to figure out with Tom Bombadil throughout the series. So that's, I mean, but that's another indication of, you know, the heavy influence that Tolkien has, and how many people he inspired. And then conversely, you look at this steaming pile of horse shit, and the fact that this will inspire nobody.
Yeah. Zero.
It
Well,
looks
actually,
like Stephen Amell in bad cosplay. If you said that was Stephen Amell right there under a shitty beard and wig, you're like, oh, yep, that's him.
I'll just say too, like the costume looks bad, the hair and you know, makeup looks bad, but also based on how y'all described the character, the actor is not giving anything that shares those attributes at all.
No,
he's not giving charm at all.
No. Charisma.
This looks
or
like
anything,
looks
or-
depressed.
Not giving Riz.
Yes,
No,
this
he's got
looks
no
like
riz.
it is a dour, serious moment where he's delivering bad news.
Yeah. And I mean, now I guess that's fair though, Josh, because the Rings of Power has not adhered to any lore. So they could just be rewriting Tom Bombadil as this dour emo like character, and they could do that. I mean, because they just haven't they have literally not done anything that has been very lore accurate for the entirety of the show, especially in season 1 and most likely here in season 2. But I remember hearing someone say something really interesting to the effect of, even if Rings of Power was trying to really get like the deep lore for like all the fans and like really get them all behind this like Tom Bombadil thing, they still get the lore wrong. So even the deep lore fans are going to see Tom Bombadil and they're going to go, that's not him. So you're just shooting yourself in the foot, because you're like, yeah, we're going to get all the deep lore fans and like we're going to introduce them to Tom Bombadil on here, and it's not him. It like looks and acts like nothing like him. But yeah, I don't know what they're trying to go for with this. Like I said, the thing that stands out immediately to me is just how piss poor this looks. I mean, and this is like this promotional image is them trying to say like, look at how amazing this is. Even the comment below says, Rory Kinnear's distinctive headwear and outfit in the Rings of Power, created by costume designer Luca Mosca, were inspired directly from J.R.R. Tolkien's descriptions of Tom Bombadil. And I'm like, are you sure about that?
You sure about that?
Yeah, are you
sure about that?
Was he in the 3 movies? Because I fell asleep during
No.
the film. Was he? No,
He was not.
No, he was rightly
Because
cut out of it because
Peter
they
Jackson,
realized it would
yes,
ruin
yeah.
it would ruin the pacing.
He recognized there was no place for him. He knew just as well as a lot of other people, a lot of other iterations. I believe even the Bakshi cartoons have not included him for that reason.
really interesting.
Yes. Yeah. So this is a complete misstep by the Rings of Power, but I would expect nothing less than for them to fumble Tom Bombadil. So yeah,
Look at his iconic Party City wig.
Yeah. Well, the other thing too is, look at how young this actor is. This is supposed to be a Treebeard like character, like you said, Aaron, an elemental force that has been living for thousands of years that we don't know anything about really, or how he came to be, and yet they hired some like 24-year-old dude who put a glued wig on and just said like, yeah, just be Tom Bombadil. So.
Give him a Gandalf hat. That'll get people excited.
Yeah, right.
They did. They just gave him a Gandalf hat. Look, this is the Hildebrandt painting, right? Yeah, look at him. He's having a good time.
That's something.
He looks amazing there. Yeah, he looks so much better
boots.
here. Yeah, he's having fun. He's jovial. Yeah.
You know what this reminds me of? Because I live, you know, in a East Texas, pretty far from a metropolitan area. There's a lot of low income housing, and there are plenty of people that we know that their household income is like maybe 30,000, and they have difficult lives. A lot of things don't go well for them as far as like we're concerned. But when you talk to those people, they are in like the best mood. Life is great. They've got their wife, they've got their kids. They're so happy with the ham sandwich they just had for dinner, and they can't wait for tomorrow. That's what this makes me think of.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, man, you know, to be that guy. But yeah, I can see how this wouldn't work in Lord of the Rings. So
to live a simple life.
yeah,
You know, it just
and that's what this looks like. I mean, clearly he's got his abilities and whatnot, but yeah.
But he doesn't even think about him. Like that's the thing is, it's not like he has abilities, but it's like he doesn't think about him. He's not concerned with power. He's not concerned with. He doesn't even think about it. He's just living his life.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I'm just laughing so much because it is clearly Tom Noonan from The Stand. It is just they're the exact same characters, and it's just I'm just laughing so much to myself right now like an idiot. This is amazing.
I still, Drew, I still need to read that Stand comic that you gave to me, so I'll have to read that before I watch Rings of Power to see if there's any correlation.
Stephen King says, "You know what Lord of the Rings was missing? Not enough underage gangbangs."
Oh no! Oh god! Have you read The Stand before, Aaron?
I've not read The Stand before.
Oh, okay. There are some sexual assaults in the novel. One involving a revolver. And two guys. But yeah.
Oh jeez. Stephen King. Cocaine's a hell of a drug.
Yeah. How far he has fallen. Rip in peace.
Tom Bombadil. Tom Bombadil. Come on, get excited, everybody.
Bombadil.
He's out of work. His wife just left him. He found out she was banging 3 Harfoots.
Oh no.
It was consensual. Tom Bombadil.
Those furry-footed little sluts.
Oh god. That's a whole nother actually Jonathan from Exploring Tolkien from the onewing.net, theonering.com, or sorry, excuse me. Yeah, the exploringtolkien.com. This guy's awesome, super based, and he is like he's a Tolkien what do you call it? Purist. He says Bombadil and the Rings of Power will guide the dirty little sociopaths, Harfoots, over to the Shire so he can settle nearby. The Rings of Power is like an insect parasite that controls the host's body. It might look like Tolkien, but inside it is a mindless, spiritless zombie.
I like this guy.
Oh yeah, he's awesome. Couldn't have said it better myself. He says, we recently talked about why Peter Jackson removed Bombadil from the films and why it was a good decision. You guys can watch it here. So yeah, I would highly encourage y'all, if you haven't already, go check out Jonathan from Exploring Tolkien or The One Ring. And he's got some really good stuff. Like I said, he's a huge fan of Gary's and kind of the Fellowship, and really, really holds true to the source material. And he was one of the few people who, when Rings of Power came out, he was not bending the knee, which was pretty cool to see. Speaking of Lord of the Rings and more news on that end, and just parasitic franchise mindsets of Hollywood, Warner Brothers set to release new Lord of the Rings movie called The Hunt for Gollum in 2026.
Huh?
Peter Jackson returning to produce, and Andy Serkis also returning to direct.
Didn't Gollum
I don't
die?
care.
I think I was awake for that. I think he died.
It's a prequel, Drew. It's a prequel.
Yeah.
Oh, but why hunt for him? I don't understand.
There is
in the books.
3 pages in the books, maybe, of Aragorn complaining about how shitty Smeagol smelled in the marshes as he was walking through or something. And that's about all we get.
And Gandalf hunted him too.
Yes, yeah.
They were looking for him, as were the Nazgul, because the Nazgul actually capture him and torture him, and that's how they find out where the Shire is.
And they're gonna make 3 movies off of this.
Wait, what?
Allegedly.
Oh my god! Didn't they learn with the Hobbit?
You would think.
Oh!
You would think. As Jack Frost said, stop, it's already dead. Yeah.
And I'm so what is this obsession with Gollum?
Yeah,
We've learned everything we need to learn about Gollum's character. There is no new ground to be explored. I don't know how to say this, but Andy Serkis's performance is not that great.
Oh wow!
No, listen, as Golem, he's
it was
great.
groundbreaking. It was
It's
groundbreaking for the
groundbreaking.
time.
He's great, but let's not pretend that voice is hard to do. Let's not pretend like you would just look at Golem at the design and you would go, "What voice do I don't know." You know, like I'll just do that.
Yeah.
Like, you know, there's
You
all
cinch
kinds of
up your
people that can
vocal
do that.
cords,
Yeah,
yeah.
do that voice. You know, you just nasty hobbitses. You know, it's like it's really base level. It's like Mark Hamill's Joker.
Let's also, you know, recognize the fact that while he's fine as an actor, especially with motion capture, he is not a good director.
Oh, you didn't
really?
see Venom 2, Let There Be Carnage, my friend.
no.
That was a great movie.
Oh no. Venom is one of those films that is so forgettable. I remember watching it. I don't remember what happened though. Like I couldn't tell
You're
you
better off. You're better off.
a single thing. I just
That's what I remember.
oh no.
I
Yeah,
know
no,
that in the
it's
second
really-
one he goes to a gay pride parade or no, he goes to a gay bar and somehow they make that like the symbiote like coming out as the symbiote or something. Like there's some kind of parallel that they try to draw. It doesn't really work, but he wears some beads. I don't know. He might have shown off some stuff. Who knows? And then I know that like Cletus Cassidy has like 18 different motivations throughout the film that keep shifting.
Yeah.
And okay, so Aaron, you gave a hot take earlier. You said Andy Serkis's performance is not that great.
No, I'm being an a-hole.
That's fair. Hey, you can have your opinion.
The voice isn't that great. The voice isn't that, but the physical performance is groundbreaking and pretty damn cool.
You know what? I'll take a different one then, because I really love Joker. Like I truly think that Joker is a fantastic film that I actually enjoyed, even though it is very dour. I actually really enjoyed it. So if you're giving some hot takes, I'll give my hot take. Oh shoot, now I lost it. Dang it. What were we just talking about? Lord of the Rings.
Golem.
I do not think Tom Hardy is that great. I don't understand the hype behind him.
What?
I don't get why he is the biggest thing on the planet. He has the worst accents. He cannot do a Venom like ability for what's his name? For the actual character of
Eddie
Venom.
Brock.
Eddie Brock, thank you. He was a terrible Bane. He just and then in The Revenant, he did another stupid dumb accent that I couldn't understand him. And everyone just thinks he's like, oh, he's such a brilliant actor. He really like embodies the role. And I'm just like, I don't know what he's trying to be though. Like I can't understand him half the time.
I'm with you.
I don't.
I'm so with you. I'm
let's
so with you on this.
go.
I don't get it. I'm looking at the ads for that new movie where he like leads. It's like basically like Sons of Anarchy.
Oh, the
but-
motorcycle gang.
Yeah. And I'm like listening to his accent and I'm like, I can never take him seriously. The only reason I could take him seriously in Fury Road is because he barely talked.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, that's right. Ugh.
It's a good grunts.
Good evening, Nadia. No, I will not kick myself off the show, but thank you. Peaky Blinders, okay, but like
I don't remember him in Peaky Blinders.
yeah, and I more so remember Tommy
for
Shelby,
me,
and he's amazing. But yeah, go ahead,
it's
Josh.
Bronson, Warrior, Inception, Tinker Tailor Soldier Spy. What's the one where he was the southern guy? It was the Three Brothers. He's fantastic in all those.
Yeah,
I've
watching
seen many
Bronson-
of those, and I do not remember most of them.
Bronson,
Yeah.
honestly, I can never forget Bronson. His performance in that is just chilling. Just
What is about his performance in Star Trek Nemesis, guys? I think you guys are forgetting that.
Oh gosh, oh no.
That was like his first film, wasn't it? Or like one of his
Yes.
first.
One of his first,
Wow.
yeah.
Oh,
He
wow.
said he went into a deep depression after that film because he thought it was going to be his break. He thought it was going to be his breakout role, and like everybody hated that movie.
Oof.
I don't remember hating it. I thought he was fine. I just thought it was
I
weird they were
watched-
trying to pass him off as a clone of Picard.
Oh yeah, I watched him in Warrior, and it was fine. Like I was like, oh yeah, that's cool. Okay, I like this. I actually prefer the other actor, his brother. He's
John
been in a
Vincent?
ton of stuff as well. Yeah, I think that's who it was. He's done a lot of great stuff, but I would watch him before I watch Tom Hardy. I don't know. It's
I
the
also think
same
that
thing.
was-
Yeah. Go ahead, Josh.
Yeah, I was gonna say I think that was also by design in that film. You're supposed to like his brother more. Like it's
I just mean as an
set
actor.
up that way.
Yeah, but
Eh.
I don't know. Eh.
Okay, so
We
I'll give
can-
you 50-50 on him then, Josh.
Yeah.
I'll give you
He
50-50.
stills every scene he's in Inception, and he's a supporting character by far. Like
I need to rewatch
he's good.
Inception then.
I also need to rewatch Inception. It's been a while. With Ellen Page, huh?
Oh, that's
Elliot
right.
bigot.
Oh.
No, she was Ellen then.
Oh, okay. Well, you can't dead name her.
Well,
Him.
I'm naming
Oh, wait.
I'm naming the actress that was in that film. I'm not naming the person that
Oh.
the actress is now.
Out of all months, you decide to do this month, Aaron. No. But yeah, so with all that being said, just end this franchise bullshit, end this whole, hey, we should bring back the original creators, right? Because then people will like it. And it's just this is a derivative of a derivative of a derivative. We already got Lord of the Rings. It's done. Let us enjoy it. Stop trying to reincarnate this broken down corpse of, because each iteration it gets worse. Hobbit was not very good. Sure, they were somewhat enjoyable at times, but it wasn't great. We then have Rings of Power, which is just an absolute complete departure. I don't even call it Lord of the Rings. And now we're gonna get whatever this is.
Don't
I
forget
would
the Golem
much
video
rather-
game.
Oh, Lord of Ring Gollum. And so each thing after has just been worse and worse and worse. Now, I was gonna say, if anything, I would want Peter Jackson to come back, whether it be producing or directing, for something like an Andor, but we follow like a warrior in Gondor or Rohan, or maybe a city that we haven't heard of, or something that we didn't see before. Like, I want a contained story of call it Men of the West or something like that, where it's just like, hey, let's understand the culture a little bit more. Let's get some maybe intrigue and find out what's going on behind the scenes of Gondor's political state or something. I don't want to see these, like, we're gonna make it 3 movies again. It's like, oh no, they're gonna ruin this whole Hunt for Gollum thing. And so that's my take on the situation. Do you guys have anything else to say before we move on to our next topic?
You don't want to see Boromir's childhood play out on screen?
That
When
would be kind of cool.
Boromir and Faramir were brothers and just hanging out.
That would be interesting. I mean, it would give him so much more. But do we want to see a prequel of a character that we
No, I don't want to see a prequel of any of this. Like, I don't want to see any of these. Like, I would rather they make a movie based on the Shadow of Mordor game. I would rather they just take a complete departure and do Talion, which is all apocryphal. Just do that. Just do that, and him possessed with the spirit of Celebrimbor and running around and killing orcs, and he's the Grave Walker, and he tries to build his own army and overthrow Sauron and take over Mordor, and then fails. I'd rather see that than any of this. I don't ever need to see Golem again. I get that Andy Serkis, I get that that's his crowning achievement, and he's trying to relive his high school football days, when he scored 3 touchdowns in a single game and defeated his nemesis, Bubba Spare Tire Dixon. I get it.
Spare Tire.
But just stop. Just please stop.
Yeah.
Well, while you bigots are naysaying this, I can't wait for Rings of Power Season 2.
So our next topic is going to be... I can't wait.
I was going to say, on a serious note, and I don't like the Hobbit films. I think they're not great. But no. I love that what they tried to accomplish with Galadriel in the entire season of Rings of Power, they did way better in the Hobbit films in that one scene where she just goes beast mode.
Oh, Evangeline Lilly, when she's an actual
no. When Galadriel does her whole thing in the
when it's her and Saruman and Elrond. Is that the one that you're talking about? When they're
when she does the whole dark lady, they kind of do the dark lady thing.
Okay, that's cool. Yeah. But they also had what's
Kate
her name?
Blanchett.
Kate Blanchett, who just. She's gorgeous. She is Galadriel. And she's such a brilliant actor.
She's elegant. She's fantastic. She's middle class, like we are.
Yeah.
She's just perfectly middle class.
She is she's super elegant, like you guys alluded to, but she's also strong and confident in her own way. It's not a strength that's Galadriel, where she's like stab, twist, gut. If you guys remember how she was teaching the Numenorians, I don't
She
even.
has a feminine strength in
Yes,
the books
it's
and in the
a
Peter Jackson films that is
right.
unique. And
Yeah.
in The Rings of Power, she's just a man, and not a convincing one.
Not a convincing one, and not one that I would follow into battle, and not a likable man either.
No.
But there's a tempest in her, so we must follow her. So for some
By the
reason.
way, Kate Blanchett, wood.
Oh, wood. Absolutely. I thought we were talking about Evangeline Lilly as the elf that
Also
wants to
wood.
Also wood.
Yes.
That wants to bang the dwarf, the hot dwarf.
The hot dwarf. He's like a GQ model dwarf, the one that doesn't have any weird prosthetics or stupid hair.
He's just got like a perfect 5 o'clock shadow with like the Aragorn hair, but he's just really short.
Wouldn't it have been great if like she was like the dwarf that was her love interest was like the really big fat one?
Yes, yeah. Dwalin or Balin. No. Dwalin was like the warrior.
Dwalin was cool.
Yeah, Dwalin was great.
Balin was cool. Balin was the wise one.
Yep.
It's like Beaufort or something like that.
Yeah. No, yeah. Oh, yeah, you're right. Beaufort. And you know what? Surprisingly, I think they could have done a better job writing Thorin, but Richard Armitage as Thorin. Mwah. And I also think, if you guys haven't listened to the audio drama of Wolverine the Last Night or Wolverine the Long Night, something like that, Richard Armitage voices Wolverine. Dude, if we ever got a Wolverine movie, Richard Armitage would be perfect. Like, just the best casting if we didn't get Hugh Jackman. So I would highly encourage y'all to go look up that audio drama if you have not already. So
I will.
All right. So the last thing we are going to talk about tonight, just real quick, is some Rippaverse stuff. So as some of you may know, Yaira has recently been, well, it was the campaign, if you want to call it that, because he's not doing crowdfunding. He's just doing the campaign.
The pre-order, essentially.
Pre-order, thank you. It ended this past week or past 2 weeks ago, and right now people are actually getting it shipped to them, and they're getting some of the pages. And one of the things that people have been questioning is, why did Yaira take so long, especially when it was already made and written? Because Eric's big thing is that he wants to make these comics, not crowdfund them, but to have them be created already so that people can pre-order them and then get them, on time, shipped, ready to go. And one of the things that this individual asks is, he says, "Hey, Kanan White, can you talk about the artistic process and workflow of how you and Deborah revised and redrew the original preview page in ISOM 2 to what it is now?" So if you guys don't know, this was the original preview page of Yaira number 1 in ISOM number 2, if that makes sense. They kind of showed off this page to say, this is what we're going to give you guys. He says, seems like an interesting story since so much of it has changed. Thanks. And these are the actual interiors. So this was the preview of what Deborah had already drawn. And this is what it actually turned out to be.
It looks
so
better.
It's better.
Yes, it looks much better. Even the angle
in the first
here
one, it looks like her neck is broken. Like in the first page, like it's twisted. That isn't a natural angle for her neck to be at.
This doesn't. He looks like he's looking over here. She looks over here. The jail cell looks really small and kind of her.
It looks like cages. It doesn't look like it goes all the way to a ceiling. Are they just cages?
Yeah. So here it actually looks pretty like much
looks like a prison.
Better. Yeah, it looks much more like a prison, like a pretty, significantly sized one. I like the Dutch angle too, how it's kind of off kilter to display a tone of like unsettling nature, right? She's looking away, kind of unsettled. So okay, this looks much better. But I guess the drama surrounding this now at this point was people are wondering, did Kanan White have to come in and just completely redraw this book? Or was he the creative influence to kind of help Deborah get there on her own? And he responds with, well, simply put, as a comic artist, the goal is to always tell the strongest story possible visually. In that, you read the script, then you create a layout, a rough visual layout, also called rough sketches, get really loose and just gestural forms. When you are laying out the page, you review it. And if you see that layout could be revised to tell a better, more complete story, then that's what you do. That's where I come in. Once we, myself and Deborah in this case, felt and feel we have the rough layout draft in the best way to interpret the story, then Deborah or any other artist goes to work drawing those pages. That's where my job ends. Then I get to sit back and watch them work their magic, and I can honestly say she has done an amazing book. Such an honor to work with her. Hope this answers your question. I think the drama then comes into, does this really look like a sketch page? Like this is just kind of a layout? Or was this actually what they were going to go with? And upon people criticizing it, they said, hey, we got to do something about this and fixing it.
My statement on that is, so what? Either way. If people criticized it and then they came in and they fixed it, good. They engaged in good customer service. They listened to feedback and they fixed a problem. Because that first page is a problem. As an editor, I would not approve that page. It wouldn't have gotten to inks because I would have looked at the pen. I don't know how tight the pencils are. I don't know if Deborah just does a real rough layout or if she does tight pencils, but in tight pencils, I would have said, no, this is wrong. And probably in layout, in just rough layout, I would have said like, I don't know about this. So them going and redoing it is good. Now I see, can you go down again? I want to see the other shot that you had. Like this here, where Frosty's comment. And then the first thing is, even Mancave critiqued it. And as a result of Eric July's long obsession with the Frog King EVS, he had it changed. That's interesting because I don't think Eric July has an obsession with Ethan. I think he barely talks about Ethan. I think Ethan has a stream about Eric every single day. So that's an interesting take. It seems like the inverse is true. Just, from my very rudimentary, paying attention of what's going on. It just seems like there's a trash cast every single day. And every time I see it come up in my YouTube selections, there's something about Eric July in there. Like, so it's come on.
I do think that Eric has watched Ethan's streams because I know that Eric has responded publicly. Josh just lost power, which is why he just dropped. I do think that I do think that Eric has seen some of the streams from EVS and has responded to them publicly, but just doesn't mention his name. So he'll say something like, hey, we want the Rippaverse to be fun, and so in order to be really fun, we're going to do this and this and that. But previously, like that, later that week or earlier that week, EVS had done a stream saying Eric doesn't seem like he's having fun. So just little things like that where he'll
when someone does a stream about you every day, trashing you and every single thing that you do, every single thing that you say, every single move that you make, I can imagine why you wouldn't be having a whole lot of fun.
Right. Yeah, probably wouldn't be too fun of a job at that point when you're trying to make comics. So and Jack says, is the prison a 3D asset? Oh boy. Oh no. I guess we're gonna have to check what was it? Drew, do you remember what that SketchUp? Yes, thank you, Aaron. Yeah. We'll have to check and see my 3D asset. So but yeah, no, honestly, it's interesting. If they redid the page, I kind of wonder if it's like a Sonic thing, where like when Sonic had released with the trailer and people saw it and absolutely despised it. It was the most grotesque, hideous Sonic. It had like a human face.
Oh, human teeth. Yeah, it was like that thing. That thing drinks blood. Like when I saw it, I was like, "Oh God!"
It was absolute nightmare fuel, right? But then, like, people just responded and were like, "This looks awful." Sorry, there's a really annoying, like, one of those Cholo cars outside my window right now, and he's revving his engine, and he's getting pulled over by the cops. So that's fun.
That'll end well.
That'll do really. Yeah, that's gonna be great. So he's kind of making me distracted. But anyway, if that's one of my pet peeves, it's loud cars that think that by being loud, they're being manly or something. I don't get
No,
it.
what you should do is you should open the window and you should say, "Cool car," and then when they give you the thumbs up, go, "Sorry about your penis."
Exactly. Yeah, no, the original Sonic was terrifying. But hey, the great thing about that was look at how much money it made, because the directors and the producers like actually listened to all the comments and all the fans, and they said, "Hey, if we release this a little bit later, we could fix all the CGI." And would that work? And then they released the trailer with the new Sonic face, and people were like, "This is awesome. We're now
This
going to
is
go see this
everything
film."
I wanted from Sonic. It
Exactly.
looks like Sonic.
And yet there are still
Exactly.
people online who are bitching, complaining like they bent the knee to the fans. They shouldn't have done that. They just showed the fans how much power they've got.
Yeah, they should have lost money. They should have lost money instead
Yeah.
of. It's called customer service. It's something that Hollywood has forgotten. It's something that comics has forgotten to their detriment. And then it's like they're like, "Where'd all the money go?" Well,
Yeah.
if you don't satisfy your customers, they don't give you their money. If you spit in their food, they don't come back to your restaurant.
Yeah, it's weird when you go to a pizza shop and they keep giving you shit pizza, and then you go, "You know what? I don't think I'm gonna eat here anymore." And they're like, "Well, why not? Why aren't you eating our pizza?" And then you're like, "Well,
Bigot."
'cause yeah, bigot. You awful, you homophobe, you bad person, you Nazi." And you're like, "Well, I just don't like your pizza. I don't want to eat here anymore."
If you're
Fine,
having
then don't
breakfast,
eat.
if you're having breakfast in a diner and the waiter comes over and while making eye contact with you the entire time comes in the creamer,
Oh,
you're not going to eat there anymore.
yeah. No, that's
Even
a
if he
good
doesn't
point.
make eye contact, even if he just
Yeah.
comes over and does it, you're gonna be like, maybe we don't eat here anymore. This doesn't seem
You
like
know what? I think I'm good.
doesn't seem like what I want out of my breakfast experience.
But no, Aaron, it's your fault as the consumer that he came in your creamer.
Yeah,
That's
you're right.
your fault.
That's my fault.
Yep. So and
Don't bend the knee to me. Make sure
yeah.
that there's more cum in my creamer than even that.
No, no.
If you'd been more open-minded and more tolerant, yeah.
Yes, exactly. Especially during this month. Come on. So yeah, so all that being said, I gotta hand it to him. Like, hey, if he noticed that there was criticism against the original page, and then said, "Hey, let's fix this," right? Like, if obviously people are not going to be very fond of this, if they don't like it, let's fix it, right? The only thing that I do take issue with is we got this page from an undisclosed source. And I just wanted to read this because I don't think he's using the resources that he needs to, which is an editor. And it says that there is an editor, Andrew Rodriguez. What are you doing? What is your job? If you're not rereading what Eric is writing, and we know that this is Eric July because it says for Salvage PI, Eric July writer. And if this is what we're getting exposed to as his writing credits, he has learned nothing from ISOM 1, ISOM 2, all the cards, all the side books or whatever. So I'm going to read this and we'll just take a look at it. But he says the affluent city of Flores Park, Texas, is not bereft of crime, and the threat of criminals possessing accept abilities is a very real one. Period. Uppercase, but not all crimes are caused by giant walking, talking barbecues or denizens of the underworld. And period, uppercase A. And for cases that don't call for flying super cops or superpowered vigilantes to be solved, sorry, I have to take a breath because these are long, long sentences. There's one man whom private citizens can go to who always, sorry. There's one man whom private citizens can go to who always has his ear to the streets, Salvage PI. A marked increase in the theft of luxury goods smells like corporate sabotage, and Salvage sounds like just the man for the job. But has this private investigator gotten in over his head? It's unreadable. I'm like, especially these last two sentences, I and for cases that don't call for flying super cops or superpowered vigilantes to be solved, there's one man whom private citizens can go to who always has his ear to the streets.
Why is ear bolded?
That's a great question. I didn't even notice that. I
Also,
was too. Yeah,
I would.
sorry,
Okay,
go ahead.
so just as an editor, like, no, finish your thoughts, Max, and then I'll give you my thoughts as a professional editor.
Please, no, yeah, because I'm not a professional. I'm merely a reader and a fan. But the thing that has me hung up is there's one man whom private citizens can go to who always has his ear. It sounds like what he's trying to say is there's one man who citizens can go to who's and he always, or like, you don't even need the ear to the streets thing. You just have to say there's one man who citizens can rely on, and that's Salvage PI. He has his ear to the streets at all times, right? It needs to be a separate sentence almost, because the whom private citizens can go to who always, it's completely, you don't know who the subject of the sentence is, and so you're wondering, the citizens or Salvage, or who is he talking about? So that's my hang up on that sentence. But please, Aaron, yeah, I'll let you take it as a professional.
Okay. First of all, not going to throw Andrew under the bus because don't know if he saw this page. He may
That's
be
fair.
editor on the
Yeah.
he may be editor on the story. This may be something that was put on there. I've certainly had pages go out, like prefaces or things like that have gone out on books where I've never been shown it, and so there's misspellings or there's things that I would have fixed had I been shown. Artist names that are wrong. Those sort of things happen. So don't know whose fault this is, but there is a huge problem here, and the problem is that this is terrible copy. If you read this on the back of a book, when you're like, hey, what's this book about? And you read this on the back, you'd be like, oh, and you put it back down. The affluent city of Florist Park, Texas is not bereft of crime. That's the first problem, that entire sentence.
Yeah, yes, it really is.
I would say, I'm going to change as little as possible.
Okay.
Just so that I can just show you how just simple tweaks can make things work a little bit better. The affluent city of Florist Park, Texas is no stranger to crime.
There you go. Yeah.
It still gets the same point across, but it doesn't feel like you just wanted to use the word bereft, so you found a way to put it in there.
Yes.
It's like, hey, I want to sound smart, so I want to use the word bereft in this sentence.
Yeah.
And the threat of criminals possessing acceptabilities. By the way, I still hate acceptabilities. It never reads right in a sentence.
This is true. Yeah. Accepts are his term for superheroes, but it just reads as accept, like not
even when you capitalize it, you
exactly,
have to,
yeah.
There should never be any barrier to, much like we talk about with like the names of the characters.
Yeah.
If you don't know how to pronounce the names of the characters, that's bad.
Yes.
Especially if it's the title of your book.
No.
It needs to be, and so like making the person stop getting invested in the story to go, wait, what acceptabilities? Like, what does that mean? What, the exception of their ability? No, wait. Oh, or accept what their abilities are called. Like, you've now taken them out of getting into the story.
Right.
Is a very real one. Okay, that sentence doesn't really need, like, there's better ways to do that. You could just say the affluent city of Florist Park, Texas is no stranger to crime. Cut and start a new sentence. The threat of criminals possessing acceptabilities is a very real one. That sentence is, there's nothing really interesting about that sentence. So you've got to come up with a different way to say it. So you want to get across the point that, hey, there's a whole lot of superpowered people in this city. There's better ways to do that sentence. But not all crimes are caused by giant walking, talking barbecues. First of all, you don't begin a sentence with but, and you don't begin a sentence with and.
Which is why I said period, capital B, like because you that's just like English 101, or at least for the classes that I learned, you can't start sentences with but or and.
While the thought of superpowered criminals while the threat of superpowered criminals is a very real one. Not all crimes are caused by and then you say people with acceptabilities, or however you want to communicate that.
Right.
Walking Talking Barbecues assumes that the person who is reading this knows what the hell you're talking about. It assumes that they've read something. I assume that there's some flaming character within, a giant flaming character that's appeared in the book previously. And so you're trying to be cute and you're saying Walking Talking Barbecues, but if I haven't read the book, I don't know what that means. And it sounds silly. It sounds stupid. Are you talking about literal barbecues? Was there a literal barbecue walking around? Or are you talking about a character? I don't know, because I don't know what this world is.
Yeah.
Okay. Or denizens of the underworld. And for cases, don't start a sentence with and for cases that don't call for flying super cops or superpowered vigilantes to be solved. Cut to be solved.
Yeah, to be so, and for cases, that because we get it.
Don't call for flying super cops or superpowered vigilantes, comma.
Yeah.
There's one man whom citizens can trust.
Semicolon. There it is. Yeah.
Semicolon. A man who always has his ear to the streets. See, I'm changing as little as possible.
Yeah.
Salvage PI.
There you go.
When Salvage notices a marked increase in the theft of luxury goods, it smells like corporate sabotage. And Salvage decides he's just the man for the job.
Yeah.
And then you say, will Salvage discover blah, blah, blah?
Yeah.
Or has this private investigator gotten in over his head?
Yeah.
That's just off the top of my head.
So much better. That's like, we took, 5 minutes? Not even, to do that.
Mm-hmm.
And it reads so much smoother. It reads so much easier. It makes much more sense.
Mm-hmm.
You get rid of the walking, talking barbecues. Yeah, just so well done. What's up, Drew?
This whole the whole paragraph here, it just sounds like with the intro to Windy City Heat, which is a horrible parody film from like 2004.
Oh no!
I don't know if you guys have ever seen it or not. It is fucking terrible. But like this whole paragraph just reminds me of this. I would scrap this whole thing. That's just me. But it's
because I like you read it and you go, I know what he's trying to say.
Yeah.
Because what he's trying to say is when there are excerpts that are dealing with the larger aspects of Flores Park, Texas, like, these massive super heroic type events, who is the person who's boots on the ground? Who's the guy who's solving crimes or being a detective, or who are the citizens relying on, and who are they able to trust with some of the smaller things that the excerpts or the superheroes are doing elsewhere? And that's Salvage PI. That's essentially what he's trying to say, but it just comes off as completely nonsensical. But yeah, the marketing. I like how you said, Aaron, one man whom citizens can trust, not can go to. They can't go to him, but they can trust him with some of these events. They can trust him.
They can trust him to be the man that's looking out for their interests. It's like you get the same point. You get the same, it evokes the same feeling that he's trying to create, but it actually evokes it instead of making you go, what does he do? Yeah. They can go to him like, like, hey, help me solve this case of these luxury goods being stolen. Like, are regular citizens, like, are they the ones going to him? Or
he's got like a little Salvage PI shop, and like people can walk in and take a number, and he's like,
I noticed all these luxury goods are being stolen around the city, and I remembered that you were the guy that has his ear to the streets, and I said to myself, Self, we need a guy who's got his ear to the streets.
I said, Self? Yeah.
What do you say, boys?
Yeah, boys. Salvage, I know you got your ear to the ground. I know that's you.
I know that you're the man on the street. You've got the word. You're getting the skinny, the straight poop.
The snooker? Yeah.
Yeah.
A dame walked in. She had great pins, like like that. I don't know why that's always my go-to, but like there you go. So like what this paragraph is trying to do is it's trying to give you some backstory, just a very little, to get you interested in Salvage PI. So what I would have said to Eric if I was his editor and he handed me this, assuming he handed it to an editor, because it doesn't feel like it does. I don't think Andrew probably would have let this go through. No. You have to say to him, what is it that you really want to communicate here? Tell me, just in one sentence, tell me what you want the reader to walk away with.
Yeah.
And if he can't tell you in one sentence, then that's a problem. But it's like, okay, now that you've told me in one sentence, let me take this and let me recraft it for you. and
Mhm.
give you a version of this. Because as an editor, and I noticed that a lot of the guys, especially in Comicsgate and like independent, and I say Comicsgate is just like anybody who's doing indie crowd funded books, and I know that that's not really the term for everybody because not everybody's Comicsgate,
But it's a broad term, yeah.
yeah, all of these crowdfunded books, especially the artists that have decided that they're writers, they're so afraid. They're so afraid to have an editor come on because they're like, you're going to change my story. But a good editor isn't there to change your story. A good editor is there to say, what is the story you're trying to tell? Now, let me help you streamline this and make this the best version of that story.
Mhm.
And so that's what I would even do with this paragraph is, what is the best version of what you're trying to accomplish with this paragraph? And just off the top of my head, I think we did a much better version. Now, if I sat down and I actually rewrote it, wrote it all out, it would be even tighter.
Yeah. No, I love what you say here because I think it's important for artists to know that you don't want to change their story. If anything, you're making it better. You're making it more understandable for readers to engage with. So Cajun Corey says, I actually just got done playing Mario Kart with Andrew, and he mentioned that Eric is actually the editor-in-chief at Rippaverse.
He should not be editor-in-chief.
I was going to ask him.
Yeah, no. I think it's Andy Andrew on Twitter. He's a nice guy. I've been on a stream with him. He's and he seems he seems like he knows his stuff. So, no, Eric should not be editor in chief. Eric should be publisher.
Yes,
and he should have an editor in chief.
Correct. I like Andrew. I've nothing wrong with him. I thought that he had maybe seen this and let this pass through. And even on first viewing, you go, even as someone who's not an editor, you look at this and you go, nope, it's not ready to print, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so that's all I'm saying. I like Andrew a lot. I think he's a good dude. Like you said, Aaron, we've been on live streams with him. He does know his stuff, and there are people on his team that are extremely talented and are very well versed in their craft. Andrew was an editor for Yaira, so yeah. But this,
I haven't read Yaira, so I can't critique Yaira at all.
Yeah. So,
but just this, like just this one paragraph, I'm just judging it on its own merits. And
right.
It needs help.
Right. And that's basically what I'm doing is that, for all of his successes and all of his faults, the one thing that I hope Rippaverse is doing is learning and getting better, because we need them to get better. Because if they are going to truly be a competitor to Marvel and DC, or to be a parallel economy, they need to be, as Eric says, they need to be great. So I hate to use his words not against him, but use his words for him. But hey, look, it's just you and me now. I guess Drew just didn't want to talk about this anymore either. So.
Is power just going out across Texas and,
I guess so.
and now Indiana? It's affecting too. Like
us West Coasters, we gotta.
Like this is just a little more personal, a little more intimate time with Max and Aaron.
Dylan Lindsay, member for 3 months. Dude, thank you so much for your membership, and thank you for 3 months. You celebrating that with your super chat. Here's Drew. What happened? You weather got you again? Just like Josh?
Yeah, weather got me again.
Oof.
Maybe you need to go to Salvage PI and find out what's going on, Drew.
He's got his ear to the streets. Dylan says, I'm the straight skinny. Says, I'm with Aaron on this. It doesn't matter if they change the art after criticism. What matters is that customers will receive a better product.
That's all that matters.
Ultimately, at the end of the day, there needs to be better product. There needs to be better product that is being produced, that is being handed to customers, that is getting into their hands, that they're reading and that they are enjoying. But it has to be a better product. So absolutely, Dylan. Thank you so much again for your membership. And then Cajun says, I want Eric to succeed, but he needs to be a better writer or get someone else to write. And he has the people, right? He's got people on his team that can absolutely write and edit and illustrate. He's got to get them there. Like any good director will get a fantastic actor to give the performance of their life. But if you're a bad director and you can't get that actor to the place they need to be, it's going to be terrible. So
you know, it's like I'm for hire.
yeah,
I don't know why. You know, it's like I offer on Twitter all the time to these to these indie guys.
yeah,
Like, hey, you know, like my rates are reasonable,
mhm.
and certainly when you're making over $1 million, my rates are super reasonable.
Yeah, yeah,
You know,
absolutely. But
I've
'cause
offered more than once.
are you doing stuff with Art T Bear right now? Is
Yeah,
that
I'm finishing
currently?
up. I'm going to be finishing up. I've got to go back and I've through the first 30 pages, which I've already started to do. Art gave some notes, so I'm making some changes to the first 30, and then I've just got to finish off that volume 3. Yeah, and then I'll be done with Black and White volume 3.
Sweet, cool, man. Well, all that being said, I think we can probably end it here because Drew keeps keeps dropping, and I think we've covered all the topics we wanted to for this evening. But dude, Aaron, thank you so much for swinging by. I wasn't sure if you were going to have to hang out with Jesse right after this or not. So,
Oh, I am. In
um,
about 30 minutes, I'm going to be hanging out with Jesse. We
cool.
moved it to 9 because I told him I said I didn't want to. I didn't want to keep like abandoning your stream to go do another competing
Oh,
stream. You know, like
dude, well, thank you so much, man. And even if you did have to, I totally understand because what you guys talk about over there is really fun, and I love Jesse's enthusiasm. So,
I think tonight he's going to be grilling me about my career. So it's going to be like sort of a
ooh, like an
series of
interview.
like, yeah, like of like what the ups and downs and the twists and turns that my career has gone through. So if you guys get a chance, come on over to Jesse Blaze Snyder's channel, and
Yeah.
which I believe is Coolest Geek Alive.
Yes.
Um,
Yeah.
I'll tweet out the link. But yeah,
Cool.
come on over and chat and ask me questions about what the hell I've done in this ridiculous industry.
About your career. Yeah. You're one of the bastions of
My
hope, though.
career.
It's more of a career than you can say for a lot of other people. Because even though Mags and Vita have written more books, I still wouldn't call them. They do not have a career in comics because you've actually produced things that will live on after this. Theirs will be forgotten by time. So
Yes,
I
they lack
hope so.
creative integrity. They lack.
Drew's back.
yes.
Hey.
Hey, he's back
Just in time for us to
and he's gone. No.
Oh, no.
that weather. Oh shoot, yeah, no weather, right? As I'm like pressing the mouse button. So, thank you guys again for hanging out tonight. Chat, y'all are awesome. Hopefully you enjoyed the show. We covered a lot of different topics tonight, but we will see you guys hopefully next weekend in Dallas. We will be at Dallas Fan Expo, so we would love to see you guys there. If not, we will be back promptly right after that for more weekly comic wrap up and Max's Man Cave. But until then, have a fantastic week, guys. And once again, as always, reject modernity and embrace legacy. We will see you guys soon. Take care.